Hey you guys, welcome back. It is Wednesday, which is usually Wood Sign Wednesdays, and we're gonna keep it that way for now. So I'm going to show you my favorite top 10 wood signs that we've done in 2020. So make sure to get on those cozies, make sure to grab a beverage, a snack, and let's get into them. All right, y'all, let's get started. So sorry about this crappy shadow. I'm like trying to adjust to show you guys and I cannot figure out this shadow. Hopefully next time I do a wood sign, I fix this problem. So I'm trying to show you right here. See those lines? You guys asked me a couple times, like, what lines am I talking about? These are glued wood pine panels. So they should always have like the line to where they glued them. These make amazing project pieces because you already have that perfect line set up for you. Now I did already sand this. I already stained this. If you want to see how I do that, then I will link the first video, part 1, up above. So for this, I did actually, before I made that stencil, I decided how far up on my piece of wood I wanted to go and then measured the length and the width of that part. And that's how I decided how big I was going to make my stencil. So right here, you guys, I showed I'm using is it Oramask? No, I don't know. This is, the tape is 233. I will try and link it down below. You can get this tape at like car detailing like stores in your area. If you try to buy them on Amazon, it is absolutely outrageous how much this tape is. But you guys, this tape gives you the cleanest lines. It adheres so well because this is used for like painting cars and stuff. It adheres so well to the wood. If I use plain old painter's tape, I always get some sort of bleed on it. So I highly recommend this tape. I will link the Amazon to it just so you can see what it's called and what it looks like. But I would definitely check with a local shop. So right here, I am showing you guys, play around with your paints because on the left, that is Rust-Oleum charcoal. In the middle is Milk Paint Eclipse. And on the right is Folk Art Rich Black. She wanted black and I wanted to give her what she asked for. So I'm glad I sampled all of those out first. So I ended up going with Folk Art Rich Black Chalk Paint. You guys, this stuff, 1 coat. Now, I'm going faster on this because you guys have seen me do this before in the previous one. I am putting 1 even coat on. And then as you see, I take my roller and go back over it. That way you don't see the lines of the end of the roller, if that makes sense to you. And then I always get my sides. I mean, to each their own though, because sometimes it could add dimension or whatever the case may be, but I like doing the bottom of my signs. And sorry, that is not in frame, but it's not like it's a big deal. And then we are gonna wait for that to dry. You guys, this only took 1 coat. 1 coat of that rich black. And now look, oh, there is like no better feeling than taking off tape or a stencil and seeing no bleeds. And your girl is gonna save that tape because it's expensive and we are going to reuse that on another project. So look at this. Look at how clean the lines are. Look at how straight they are because we used the lines that were already there for us to put that on. So now, you guys, I am going to take these stencil tools, and I got these at Hobby Lobby. They're called Stencil Tools Show Offs Dauber Set, and it comes in 5 pieces. As you can see on my piece of wood, I practiced before I did this. I'm telling you, don't make anything permanent. If you've never used it, practice first. You want to make sure that this dauber is completely covered on and kind of around the edges, or else you're gonna get like half a circle. So make sure you play on some scrap wood with this. They came in, I think this is two sizes, the size I'm using, and then one that's kind of, I would say like triple the size. And I went ahead and just put them where I thought they needed to go. And this was my first time using this. I was so excited that my client was like, yes, do some polka dots, love it. So I was super stoked. I will definitely be using these a lot in the future. Make sure to use your 40% off coupon code at Hobby Lobby. It's originally $4.99 on the bag. I will try linking them down below. So there is our polka dot. She looks great. All right. Now we are completely dry. I am going with my linen white chalk paint. That is a roller I got at Menards. It is smaller than the one I previously used because we don't need to cover a lot of space here. And paint-wise, we don't need that much either. So you could always pour more, start with a little so you're not wasting paint, and go from there. Okay, so pour that baby out. I love using my Rust-Oleum chalk paints on everything. You can also use your Waverly, your folk art. It does not matter. I just like for things like in white, or mostly just the white, like having the large can is very nice because I use so much of it. So buying the smaller ones just isn't practical. Okay, so this vinyl, you guys, this is Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. This works amazing if you are trying to stencil over paint. I have tried 651 permanent. It rips up my paint. 813, I have way too many bleeds, the removable vinyl. And this by far is the best stencil. I rarely have bleeds. I don't want to say never. I rarely have bleeds with it. I like how I'm playing around with it right now. It doesn't just like cling to the board and just stick. You can move it around. It's easy to cut. And you could get, I got one roll to just try it out on Amazon. I will link it down below. And you could also buy them from, you know, Brilliant Vinyl. I mean, anywhere you can get it from. So right here, you guys, I am getting the top of the T, the top of the E on the, and I'm using that as my guideline to how to get it straight so that I don't have a lopsided text on there. So then I get my ruler and I'm measuring the top of the T and the top of the E because I know those are straight lines. So I want to make sure that they are the same distance from the top of our black line. I hope I'm explaining that. So they weren't even, so I adjusted it again. You just have to take your time with these, you guys. There is nothing worse than like putting your stencil down, painting, and then lifting up your sign and realizing that your text is crooked. Ugh, it's horrible. So now we're just pressing this down. You guys have seen me do this a million times. Just make sure to press this down very, very good. You want to get in all the cracks, the crevices. I am not using my my vinyl tool like to rub on top of it because this is black chalk paint and I don't want to put scratches in it by doing that. So now I'm peeling off. I swear this contact paper was so sticky. I think it was the Duck Command from Walmart. Sometimes it gets like that and I don't know why. That's why I've said in previous videos, like I love this Silhouette contact paper because it just comes off so easy, but it is so hard to get the vinyl to stick to it. So that's why I always kind of go back to this or the contact paper that you can get from Dollar Tree. So you can also get a bigger roll of contact paper from Dollar Tree, not Dollar Tree, Walmart. So Walmart has the contact paper and they have this Duck Command stuff. So now that we have that on there, I am getting my fingers and I am rubbing down all of those edges. I do not want any bubbles or any gaps where our paint can fall down into. So just to ensure that I have extra security, I get my finger, I rub all of those letters down on the edges, and I just make sure that we don't have any bubbles. So now I'm taking, this one's just a basic painter's tape. This isn't the one I said was expensive. And I am just marking off anywhere that is black and anywhere that, if I'm not careful, it would suck to get white on. So I tape off all of my edges to this stencil because, man, if you ruin this sign at this point, whew, it would not be good. Okay, so I hope I get that corner. Did I get that corner? Okay, so right now I'm looking because I probably saw like a bubble or something in the vinyl that I want to make sure is pushed down. Okay, I don't get that side. That's cool. All right, so I am just giving this a thin roll. Okay, you do not want to press down on your roller because if you press down, then you are dispersing a large amount of paint and it will get under your stencil. So do not push down, just lightly coat it because you could go back and do more coats. So just a light coat right here. I am just trying to cover all of our text first. And then you'll see me like go back and do the same technique, how I kind of just like roll the brush on everything so that I can even out the paint texture so that you don't see all of my roll marks. I don't know. I don't think I'm explaining that right, but this ended up taking you guys 3 coats of white chalk paint. See how I'm just going nice and slow back and forth because the end of that roller will leave like a line mark. So if you put different pressure down while you're rolling it, you'll see that line through the text. I think that was a better explanation. So I always go over it lightly and try to even out everything I just did. So there we go. That was coat 1. I completely let it dry, and then I go back and I do my second coat. And I do it the same way, lightly, and then I will roll on just like that to make sure that it's even. And just make sure to take a good look at it, see if you've missed paint anywhere like in your text or anything like that. And then this is, I believe, the 3rd coat. Again, I waited until the 2nd coat was completely dry. You could also put like a blow dryer on cool setting, not hot. And if you want to speed up the process just a little bit. And now we are done. So you guys, this is the best. If it's not taking the tape off a straight line, it is taking your scent. Look, I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait. Come on, get that corner. Get that corner, girl. And then when you're like, oh my gosh, was there bleeding? Was there not? And I was like, yes, no bleeding. But then look at that white mark. Do you see that? No, it's there. It's there. And guess what? That is where I did not put painter's tape. That is why you cover it up, you guys, right there. So I also love this stencil paper too, or sorry, vinyl, because it is not, I always use 651 if I'm just directly painting onto wood, and that like sticks. That sticks good. So it takes a little effort to get it back off, but this stencil vinyl, it comes off so easily for you. Make sure when you are taking this off, whenever you are using chalk paint, as you peel it up, it crumbles a little bit. That's why like my fist is on the wood part, not on the black, because if you get any of that little debris that's like falling off and you accidentally like rub it on the black or whatever paints down, it's going to stay like it is painted. There will be no getting it off. So you have to, that's why I keep brushing every little bit. If I see any little bit of chalk paint, I brush it off because I do not want to run the risk of accidentally rubbing it into that black paint. So be careful. Also be careful when you're weeding your little parts, especially on top of black paint because you don't want to gouge your wood, because then it's going to leave a mark and you're going to take out some of that black paint, and you do not want that either. So we are done with that. We need to cover that black. So all I do is I take my Folk Art black chalk paint, rich black, and I am lightly getting a thin paintbrush and going over it. And you guys, that will dry back down to matte. You will not even know I did it, okay? So hello, it's a new day. Always wait overnight before you apply your clear, okay? That is very important because you need to let, I'm just using the blow dryer because I have dogs and stuff, and I am making sure that I don't have any dog hair on there, any extra chalk paint, little chips. I'm just making sure that all of the debris is off of my sign so it doesn't stick on there with the clear. So like I was saying, chalk paint needs 24 hours. Found this at Menards. Amazing. It is called a paint dozer, and you can use it to take off the top of your can. And you guys, it has this little rim part where you run it on the sides and it puts the paint back in the pan. You know how like you pour your paint can out and then there's all that extra that's like left on the seal? Right there. I got two extra ones for giveaways. Okay. All right. So do you see how I'm like taking all the excess off? This Hellsman is very like has a watery, I don't know, texture, not texture. But you do not need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. Okay. So do not douse your board with it. Make sure if you are putting this outside, Hellsman, water-based, okay? You want water-based. If you don't get water-based, you are going to see the yellow in your white paint. So make sure it's water-based. I have Hellsman water-based linked down below in my description. Make sure you are also getting every inch of this, okay? So look down. If you see any matte little pieces showing through, it should not show matte if the paint has wetted. So just make sure you're getting every single piece of this. Okay, so you guys, sorry, you need to wait 24 hours to put your clear on because chalk paint, if you don't wait, it needs to cure. It needs to set up. If you don't wait and you put this clear on, you will see like smearing of the chalk paint. So wait, take your time, and then clear it, okay? So if this was inside, if you knew the sign was going inside, you could use polyacrylic as well. Make sure you are using water-based. So now I'm getting our edges. As you can clearly see, I mean, you have to get your edges anyways, but I mean, look at that. If you didn't get your edges and let that dry, it would dry exactly like that with those cloudy like drips. And we do not want that. So make sure you do not forget to get your sides because you will have it dripping down. I never have to dip my brush back into my can to do my sides because I have plenty from where it's dripped from the top. So make sure we get all of that done. And I am just using a chippy brush. I actually found these awesome synthetic brushes. I believe they're synthetic from Walmart. And I want to try using that on one of these signs next time because usually, didn't happen in this video though, but chippy brushes always shed. And then you're trying to get it off of your wood sign. So I want to try the next time I'm going to try that for you guys because I think it would be a lot better. Okay, so that is good. I got my blow dryer. It is on cool and I am just running that over just to kind of get a little bit dried, and then I will step away. I will let the rest kind of dry on its own. And then we will come back. So I am using a doggy pea pad. These are amazing for crafting, okay? You could use whatever you want. But I am using this because I have to put my sign face down and I don't want to risk hurting the front, even though it's already cleared. I don't know, whatever. Usually I do, if you saw the other video, I do clear the backs first because I do not like putting my sign face down on my table. Don't ask me why, but I just do not like, after I paint it and work so hard on it, putting it face down. And I craft all the time, so there could be paint, there could be, I don't know, something that I'm like, I don't want to run the risk. So usually I do clear the back and put the D-hooks on before I paint my front. So that's the synthetic brush. Okay, my bad. I did try it. That is the synthetic brush from Walmart. It came in a 3-pack and I think it was like $4. And I do remember now. It worked great. So here are my D-hooks, you guys. Full disclosure, the D-hooks that I have linked in my Amazon account are not exactly these. These are no longer available. So I researched and I found you guys an alternative. I looked at the reviews. They're as close to these as I could find. So those are also linked down below in Amazon. I usually always go at least 3 inches in on each side with my D-hooks. I usually angle them kind of in, just because like when you lift up your ribbon to hang, it naturally goes towards the middle. I am using my natural line that the wood already gives us for my, what do you call it? For my guide. So it's super easy because you got your guide right there. All right, now we are attaching our string. This is where we didn't see last time in the video. So I always cut my burlap ribbon at 22 inches long. I think that's the perfect size for these. You can use anything you want, you guys, okay? So you can do this burlap, you can do patterned ones, you can do, I don't know. Possibilities are endless. You could tie twine on it if you want. It just needs to be a thicker twine, obviously, than like the Dollar Tree skinny one. Okay, so now I'm putting these through my loops. You guys make sure, as I've said in the previous video, you put something behind there because obviously you don't want your hot glue to get onto your sign. So that's why I always have something protecting. What I need to invest in, which I think would be amazing, that is my nifty hot glue pencil, is a silicone mat. I need one. I've ruined so many of my measuring mats and stuff like that because of hot glue, and I really just need to invest in a silicone mat. I wonder if you could use the silicone mats that you find at like the Dollar Tree for like your to set like your pans on and stuff. Your girl's gonna try that, okay? I need to remember. So now I'm pressing this down with my finger because I want the hot glue to get in all those little crevices of the burlap ribbon. I had somebody ask the other day in comments from the previous video if I've ever had issues with like using just hot glue, and the answer is no. I've had signs hanging on my doors for quite some time. I do have a storm door protecting it though, but have never had issues, and I've never had any clients come back and tell me that it's falling apart or it's not holding up. So as far as I know, they are okay with the hot glue. You could also use the hot glue and mix it with E6000 too if you'd like. I wouldn't suggest using staples or anything like that though. Make sure when you are hot gluing this that you do not keep it down on your cardboard if you don't have like a silicone mat, because you will rip that cardboard up with it. So that's just some word of advice, but your girl is gonna go and try one of those silicone mats from Dollar Tree and see if it works. This is me. Don't know why I did that. Probably because there was like a notification on the top of my phone. But so I cannot stand when the little stringies from the glue gun get all over you. And you guys, I use Sure Bonder glue guns. I have this blue one that I'm using. This is like my OG. I actually just messaged them today because I can't find this one on their website or anything to see if there's one comparable to this one. I've had my blue one for 5 years now. And I do use a black and green one every now and then, but that's for detail projects. So it is SureBonder. I have the green and black one linked down below. It is great for all projects. I just, you know, well, I fix something when it's not broken. I just love my old glue gun, you know? And I love using that other SureBonder one because it has a fine, what do you call it? Like the point where the glue comes out is very small and fine. So I love using it for making felt flowers. It is perfect for felt flowers. So yeah, go ahead, check that out. I made sure to attach one that had like a little bit of glue sticks in there already for you and everything. So there you go. And we are just doing, I don't know why I didn't speed this up. Sorry, you guys, because I don't think anybody needs to see this in real time. It's pretty self-explanatory. But, so if it's not my finger, I'm using my nifty pencil. And again, after you're done rubbing that in, lift it up right away if you are using something other than a silicone mat so that your hot glue gun does not stick to that cardboard. See, I almost forgot. That would have been poo-poo. Let me know, you guys, if you work on these. Okay, sorry, can't get into that conversation. So she said she wanted sunflowers. She did not specify if she wanted bows or nothing. She just said that she wanted sunflowers, black and white polka dots. I said, okay. So first I go about playing around. These, I believe, are from Michael's, these sunflowers. And always, you guys, biggest word of advice, always keep open communication with your clients, okay? Because what you like, they may not like, or what you think is spectacular, they will be like, no, that's not like what I wanted at all. So I played around with these and I did this. I took a picture of it, sent it to her and said, is this what you're wanting? She said, no, she goes, I feel like it needs more of the sunflowers. So then I bundled them like all together like that, sent her a picture, and she still was kind of like, I don't know, like it's just not working for me. So I was like, you know what? Let me try it with a bow and then maybe it'll work and I'll send you another picture. So first I made this bow and I was like, no, I don't know why, but I don't like those bows. So then I already had this pre-made burlap bow and I was like, you know what? That is cute. It took me about 5 minutes of thinking, you guys. It's no big deal. Okay. So I'm like, okay, we're doing that. We're doing this. So this is how I'm going to show you guys how to attach your florals to this so that you don't have to glue every single one down onto your board and then glue your, no, we don't do that, okay? Okay. So I'm gonna walk you through this. I did a step-by-step tutorial, you guys, on these bows. I will link it up above. That is why I'm fast forwarding through this, because I do a very, very thorough step-by-step in another video. But I will slow down when I show you how I'm gonna go about attaching this, this bow to the florals. So I love, you guys, I am not good at like cutting flower stems off and then wiring them together. If you just saw my latest DIY calendar video, oh my gosh, that was a hot mess on the florals I tried to do. I love when you can take bundles, like a whole bundle of branches or flowers, and then just put them directly together and not have to play around with like the placement of them. I mean, your girl will. If somebody wanted, you know, a bunch of different flowers, I'll figure it out, and it just takes me some time. But I am really good with gluing them on, and I am really good if it is whole bundles. So here we are finally. I had to redo this bow like 2 times because I wasn't getting my sides even. So here's our our burlap from the middle. Remember, if you go back and look at my video, it is just one strip of burlap. So I'm using my wire cutters. You could get these at any hardware store. These my husband just gave me. So I don't know. I'll try looking them up on Amazon for you guys. And now I'm going to play around with my placement before I glue it or wire my florals, okay? So always, you guys, always play around. Just like we tested the paint first. We tested the daubers first. Like, you have to make sure, I don't care how many times you do it, you play around with it first, because I don't know how many times I've made this bow, but I don't get it usually right the first time. I have to play around with it, because if I were to have just glued this, then I probably would have been unhappy with it, because I wanted to push the flowers in a little bit more. See how I'm pushing those in? I want them to look fluffy and full. So just take your time. I know y'all are excited, but just go slow. What's the saying? Slow and steady wins the race, or something like that. Okay, so now I found the placement. I know where I want my florals to be. I know how I want them to be together. And I'm taking a wire ribbon. You guys, this wire ribbon from Dollar Tree, I don't want to knock it, because I have used it several times, but it is super thin and it is hard to like get it tight. So I'm using my pliers, trying to kind of like wind it up. And then I'm going to wrap it around and around the florals. I picked up floral tape the other day, and I am going to try that out and see if it makes a big difference for me and makes it a little easier. So I'll definitely let you all know that. Okay, so florals are wired together. They ain't gonna move. And now we're going to put our bow on, our burlap bow. She cool, she cute. You guys, I don't know what I'm talking about over here, okay? I think it's so funny. I seriously stare at things. If you guys were to see a majority of these videos in real time, I will legit just stare at something for like 5 minutes and really think about it, because I'm like, I don't want to commit to you until I am like 110% sure, you know? So I'm committed here. I'm ready to go. So I'm wrapping the strand around one time, and then we're going to wrap it around a second time. Now, y'all, this is tight. This is a tight wrap. My flowers ain't going nowhere, okay? And we haven't even glued them yet. But you know that they're not going to move around, because one, you've already wired them. And now two, you've secured them in this little bed of a bow. I don't know what I'm talking about. Now I'm taking my glue gun, and I am putting, as usual, a healthy amount of hot glue in there. If you guys do not think hot glue will withstand this, you can always add yourself some E6000. But just keep in mind with E6000, it gets super hard. So that can get in the way if you're trying to glue this down onto the board and it's like wobbly and not flat, if that makes sense. So anyways, I'm just taking my finger and kind of pressing it on. I want to make sure it gets in all the grooves of the burlap. And then we're going to put another generous amount on the top of it, because we do not want them going anywhere. And this is my burlap from the Dollar Tree, I believe. I was super lucky to have found all of that burlap, 10 yards in California. Have not seen it once out here in Kansas, so I was super lucky. And I have not found it on their website. So Walmart is your best bet, or maybe, I don't know, like I've never looked online at like burlap actual stores or anything, so we'll see. All right, we don't want that ducktail there. That ducktail gotta go, girl. It's like a mullet. Business in the front, party in the back. But I ain't down for that party right now, okay? We ain't down to party. We gotta get down to business. So, mullet tail is coming off. All right, there we go. There we go. Shake her loose. And then, you guys, so this is where I would usually get some E6000 hot glue, put it on the back of our bow area, and then put a piece of wood on top of it to keep its place, and then sit overnight for 24 hours. E6000 has a jelly substance to it, so it will keep moving around. That's why you always add the hot glue, is for that immediate hold to it, so you can keep it where you want it. But you guys, I sent this picture to my client and she did not want the bow either. So she wanted more flowers. She didn't like the grouping in the middle. Neither did I personally. So we grouped it to the side. She did not want leaves or anything. So you guys, cover that bottom part. You'll see why I do it. I'm putting the E6000 around it, and then I'm putting the hot glue. And then I'm going to stick this baby back on. But look what happened. Oh, look, I dropped that. Imagine if that was not there. My piece would have been ruined because that glue would have not come off. And if it did come off, it would have peeled up my paint so hard. So that is why I protected it. And gosh, thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I would have been devastated to get that far in the project and then ruin it with something as simple as that. Whew, goodness. Talk about your heart skipping a beat. So as I said just a little bit ago, I'm using the E6000 because I want that long lasting cement hold to it. And then I'm using the hot glue because I want them to stay in place right now while I'm doing this. And as I'm doing it, you guys, I'm just moving one flower at a time because I want to keep my placement. Like I want to remember where I had these flowers. So I just move them around one at a time as I'm doing it. I hope that makes sense. So see how I kept the other flower in place? Because I want to make sure that I get this back where I just had it. And these sunflowers were perfect because they had like the perfect place to put the hot glue and everything. Make sure you always use coupons. I do use Dollar Tree flowers on some of my things, but for usually these rounds and stuff, I will use nicer flowers from like Michael's, Joann's. Walmart has stellar florals and stuff available, so also check them out. And look at you guys. She's stunning. She is so beautiful. Like, I am so stoked. I already told my client, I'm like, I'm already making another one of these, and I'm going to use the bow with the sunflower, and I'm going to use a couple more lines on there. Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked. I'm so happy when customers like ask you to make something you haven't made before. Like I haven't done a black and white sign. I haven't done polka dots. I haven't done sunflowers. So I was stoked. And she was so, so happy with the way that it turned out, which makes me super happy as well. It makes my heart super happy when I know that like I did something for somebody else and they love it. So I noticed, you guys, because I dropped this big flower, so some of the glue did come off. I am sticking my hot glue gun down behind it, and I am putting a little bit more glue in there so that I can ensure that it's holding up, okay? So I think I show you, yeah. Like there was a gap in there, so I made sure to put some in there so we don't got flowers falling on our floor later. And this, you guys, somebody asked like how I package them, so I will let you go ahead and watch that. All of these are from the Dollar Tree. These can be found in the crafters section. Some of them are Heidi Swap, some of them are Dollar Tree brand, but they are so beautiful. I have my business card, and then we are going to hand write a note. I think it is so important to hand write a note and not just give them like a generic printout from your computer or something you have stamped. I just love handwriting things. So that is what we do. So all my note says to my customer is, thank you so much. Of course, I put her name. Thank you so much for supporting my small business. I had so much fun creating it and cannot wait to see a pic of it hanging in your room. Sammy. So now I'm going to get this little card. Make sure you get your business card, of course. And I'm just going to hole punch these. Hopefully that didn't, yeah, that's cool. Didn't even think to look at what I'm cutting off. In the of course I forget twine. some twine. Just make it easy, simple. If you're selling to people local, you don't have to get extravagant with this. You don't have to wrap it up and use all of like your shipping resources and stuff like that, because people usually when they grab it, they want to see it right away. So what I'm gonna do is come back here and I'll tie this up. What I really want to get is a like a, what do you call those? Like a branding stamp to put on all of my wood, because I don't know, I don't feel comfortable putting like a vinyl sticker on it. I just kind of, I don't know. I mean, if I received something, Hank, I don't know, honey, that had a sticker on the back of it, I would just kind of be like, that kind of, don't put stickers on my stuff kind of thing, you know? But if it was branded on there, I don't know why I feel different. But, so there it is. Just put that. Now she has my business card. There is a personal note on there for her, and it's ready to go. So I know some of you guys wanted to see how I package my local, or what I do with them, and that is it, you guys. Well, here she is in all her glory. She turned out absolutely stunning. I texted my husband a picture right away and was like, I am going to make so many more of those. I was very proud of myself. And you guys, if you enjoyed this video, again, please give me a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. It helps my growing channel out so much, and I would love to be doing more of these for you. So have a great week. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. Goodbye. Hey, all my wood sign lovers. I hope you are enjoying these videos so far. I hope it's giving you tons of inspiration. I hope you're learning a ton. I just wanted to remind you again that I am changing my dates to Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And instead of having a designated wood sign day, they will be mixed in with my DIYs. Now, I always put my pictures on my thumbnails, so you'll know if the wood signs are something that you come to my channel for, you'll be able to see them and know which videos will have those wood signs in it. So the wood signs aren't gone. They're just not going to be on a designated day. So make sure, if you're liking the wood signs, if you like the DIYs, to make sure to subscribe, hit the like button. It truly, truly helps my channel out, helps me as a person out. And yeah, so you guys, let's go ahead and get back into all of these wood signs. Bye. So we are refurbishing that other fall sign. So we are taking it apart. So you guys, these felt flowers were on there. If they were hot glued to the wood, they were not moving at all. So I grabbed my husband. I was like, please help me. And we had to get like this like scraper tool that had a razor blade on it to get this stuff off. But unfortunately, that razor blade gouged my wood. But no fear. All we have to do is get our orbital sander, tilt it up. See how I'm tilting it up right there? And just go over it, and you could smooth all those gouges out. So I thought I ran out of 80 grit sandpaper. So I switch over to my sander that I usually use on furniture. And let me tell you, I 110% recommend the orbital sander over this one. I just feel you have more control over it. It's easier to use. It covers more surface, and yeah. So then my husband goes, maybe if you looked, you would see that there was 80 grit sandpaper. And I was like, yeah, whatever, bro. So there it is. So you guys, we need to cover these holes because this is going to be reversible. So I am going to take the Star Bond gap filler. You guys saw me use this in the other video, and we're going to fill those up. Now, yes, it is comparable to a wood filler, but this one is awesome because it dries instantly with this accelerator. So that is why I love it. You don't have to wait. You could carry on with your project and get going. And it does not discolor the stain when you put stain over it. It looks like nothing was ever there. So now I'm smoothing everything out with a 220 grit sandpaper so it's nice and buttery smooth. It looks so good. Now we're going to take our stain, which is ISP, which I need to Google that. And I'm taking my microfiber towel. You can get these at any hardware store. You could get them at Walmart. And I just cut them into little squares. And then we are going to do the front, the back, and we are going to do the sides over here. And I prefer using the microfiber towels because I feel like they hold a lot of my stain. They distribute the stain evenly. And I just prefer it. I've tried all of the different methods, and this is by far my favorite way to apply my stain. So then I am going to prop this up, let it dry overnight. Now here we are, you guys. So this is 233 plus Scotch masking tape. It is automotive tape. Now, fun fact, I started using this because when I first started doing like furniture and wood signs, my brother had given me some of his tapes. Now, my brother does custom like paint and body work for cars and motorcycles. I will actually leave his Instagram link down below if you want to check him out. I come from a very creative family. But anyways, he gave me this tape and I didn't know what it was, but then I had run out of it, went to the hardware store, got some regular painter's tape and kept on having like these little bleeds. And so I contacted him and he was like, oh no, that's automotive tape, girlfriend. So that is how I got my hands on this and why I started using the automotive tape. It has a better adhesive. I never ever have bleeds with this tape. It is a lot pricier than regular painter's tape, so keep that in mind. And I do have that linked in the description, or sorry, my Amazon store down below. Now, regular painter's tape works perfectly for some people. So you just got to try some things out and see what works for you. So you guys, we are taping this off. We are going to create some lines. Now I am going to, now that I've applied that first strip, we are going to take a smaller strip. We are going to place that underneath this piece of tape. And what this is going to do is give us some even spacing, and it's going to help guide us in creating another straight line. Now keep in mind, these are pieces of paneled wood glued together. So the lines are already there for you to start off. Just looking at the screen right now, I can distinctly see where some lines are, where the glue, the wood was glued together. So make sure you take advantage of that. I am not taping the sides off on this because remember, this is going to be reversible. So I am not painting the sides this time. Okay. Not like last time. I remembered, and I am not painting the sides. And then we are going to go in again and we are going to create a second line. I love having fun with this tape and like doing different, lines and polka dots and stuff. It's always fun when you have a customer that's not so cookie cutter in what they want on a wood round. I have so much fun with it. And this one was for my friend, so I kind of like did whatever I wanted. Okay, now we're going to take that off, and then we are going to grab some regular painter's tape and then put that on. And that's more just to protect the wood in case I mess up or I go too far up with my paint. And I just kind of layered that on top of the Scotch tape. So now we're going to go in with our paint. This is Crimson Waverly, and I'm using, of course, my foam roller. This is linked in my Amazon store in the description box. And just so you guys know, I do, these are affiliate Amazon links, so I do get a very tiny commission when you purchase from my links, but that is at no additional cost to you. And mama's got to pay the bills, so yeah, about that. So right here, I did not want to do 2 coats because I loved that wood grain you can see, but it was kind of splotchy, so I had to go in with a second coat. And right there, you guys, I did use my blow dryer on cool setting because I have no patience and I wanted to speed up the process. And I do that pretty darn often because I definitely want to peel the tape up. It's like a kid wanting to unwrap a present. And after we do the second coat, again, I take my blow dryer on cool setting and I dry that on up. And remember, I am not doing the sides of this board because it is going to be reversible. Okay, look, I'm going to put this on Zoom for y'all so you can see how pretty. Look at this. Oh my gosh. You guys, if this does not make your heart happy, then you are not into wood signs like I'm into wood signs, because this is so awesome. It like puts the biggest smile on your face when you like weed something or take off tape and there's no bleeds. Oh, so amazing. All right. All right, maybe we should move on. So right here, you guys, I am going to measure a wood sign and then I'm going to take you through the design, kind of the design process, okay? All right, you guys, we're going to do this in real time. Sorry about the glare. It is like super shiny right here. Okay, you guys, I just wanted to take you through because I've gotten asked this a lot, like how do I do my design in the design space? So this one I am doing on the Cricut Maker, and I like it because it's super easy to, for example, pick, if you come over here, shapes, and then you pick a circle, right? See how that circle goes right there? Now, if you go, let me click this away, click on your circle, and if your wooden round is 17 inches, then you just change it to 17 inches wide by 17 inches in height, and you got your perfect size. That's the size of your round. You're good to go. So I made this one 17.5 inches because that is usually the ones from Home Depot are 17.5 inches in diameter. So I always play around with my design first, okay? So I don't cut anything until I have painted off. If I am doing like these lines or just, you know, like painting half of the sign or whatever, I always wait until I paint and tape off first, because sometimes I go in a different direction with it. And, you know, like the placement, obviously like this right here is not going to be exactly the same. So as you saw before I came over here, I measured how far from my last paint stripe down and across. So that when I click on this right here, okay, it shows me that this is 12.5 or almost 13 inches in length. And then it's 6.37 in height. Now, when I measured it right now, from here to about here was 9 inches. So I should be perfect, because you guys, this is an exact cutout, the circle of your piece. So I should be pretty, dang, I got that pretty darn accurate. And then 13 inches, you have about 14 inches to work with. So this is going to be a great cutout. This is going to be a great stencil for us to work with. So I am going to go ahead and we are going to cut this out. And if you guys are wondering like where I got these lines from, all I did was come over here to shapes, square, and then all I did was go like that, just made it tiny, changed the color, brought it down here, and then just like made a line with it. That's it, just so that I can visually see what I wanted to do with my project and where my project was going, okay? So this is how I do it. Again, you do your thing, okay? I just find that when I paint my stripes on, like before I used to like cut my decal out first, and then I was basically building my paint and my stripes and my image around how big I cut my piece out. So now I like to play around with my placement first on my tape and then see how much space I have left to work with. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to only cut this Merry Christmas, and we are going to paint inside our stencil. So we are going to be weeding out our letters for this one, okay? All right, now that we're done with that, you guys, I was not recording when I was taking this and putting this on, but this is Oramask 813 stencil vinyl. I usually use just regular 651 Oracle vinyl for stencils like this when I'm doing it directly onto stain, but I'm running out, so I decided to use this. But you know what? It works just as good. It's just a little, no, is it as pricey? I'll have to check that. But this is linked also in my Amazon store, so you guys can check it out. I usually use Oramask 813 when I'm stenciling on top of paint because it doesn't peel away your paint. So that is what I recommend the stencil vinyl for. So right here, we are just doing some even coats. Make sure, you guys, that it's light coats. You do not need to push down your foam roller. That is how you will get bleeds. And then I do a second coat, and we are going to let that dry. And then we are going to weed this girl. Yes. And look, such clean lines from this. And I showed you the Cricut tool, you guys, because I have the Cricut weeder and I have the one from Silhouette, and the Cricut one is my favorite. I've used it since I started. It is so pointy, I guess you could say, and sharp, that all you have to do is get just a little piece of that vinyl up and it is solid. The Silhouette weeding tool is like super dull and you have to gouge out your wood to even get underneath the vinyl. So I highly recommend this toolkit. I will link that down below too. And the scissors too in the toolkit are super sharp, which I love. Okay, so we're going to finish weeding this off. Super happy with it. Had no bleeds. The font was absolutely perfect. In love with it. I knew I wanted this to be more simple because my girlfriend Jessica, she's not like loud like I am when it comes to things. So I kind of wanted to keep it more traditional, but give it a little bit of flair here and there. All right, look at how cute she is. Yes, girl, you marry, all right. Okay, now we got to put our clear on. So you guys, I let the chalk paint dry overnight before I put any of this clear on. And I'm just starting from the bottom because I did not know if the red chalk paint was going to tint my brush at all, which it didn't. So for this sign, I'm only doing one coat because I know that my girlfriend has a porch hanger, so it won't be directly in the elements. If I knew it was going directly in the elements, I would put at least 2 coats on this. Then I am brushing my sides because you do not want those drips to dry because it'll be a cloudy, gross mess. I am using Helmsman spar urethane in water-based clear satin. That is also linked in my Amazon store. So now that this has dried, ooh, look at how cute she is. I am taking, like I said, my friend isn't as crazy as I am. So I just wanted to keep some things traditional and then add a little flair here and there. So these are the holly berries from Dollar Tree. And we are going to play around with these and connect them. If you've watched the first 2 wood rounds I did, I like to connect all of my pieces together. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to create this bow. Like I said, I needed to add a little flair. So this, you guys, if you saw this ribbon in person, it is so stunning. The different glitter in this. Oh, I love it. Okay. So you guys make these, I'm writing down the measurements for you guys. These strips of ribbon cut to 20 inches each. And you guys have seen me make this bow a million times now. I'm just hot gluing them. And then we are going to, I fold them in half to find their center point. And then we are going to put them together. And then I'm going to zip tie those together. Now you could use hot glue if you wanted to. You could use a needle and thread if you wanted to. Or, I mean, there's so many options. So then I'm like, no, that is way too uneven. Once I fluff it out, I was like, girl, no. Okay, we need to cut that out. So I do cut that off and start over again. So this is the finished bow. Okay, let's wipe away that glitter. And here we go. So I am taking our holly and then just kind of playing around with the bow, making sure, yep, she fits, she's good, she's looking beautiful. And then I'm going to take a 5-inch strip. Is it 5? Yeah, 5-inch strip. And sorry, you guys, I do hot glue this into like a tube shape, but I'm not in frame, of course, but I do show you it. So we just hot glue the ends basically together on that 5-inch strip. Like so. Look at, see the tube? And then we're going to take another zip tie here. I have my holly where I want it. I have my bow where I want it. Now I'm going to attach all of these together, okay? You see that? They're attached. Now, what really made me so mad is at first the left side wasn't as full as the right side. So of course I started playing around with it, and then the right side wasn't as full as the left side. Okay, anyways, I'm taking some heavy duty Velcro. Actually, one of my subscribers and I, dang it, I had her name and now I lost the paper. She had left a comment and saying that she would like to try it with Velcro. And I was like, you know what, that's actually a pretty good idea, because I usually use heavy duty magnets for like changing out bows and things like that on my wood rounds. But I was like, you know what? Let's give that a try. Let's try the Velcro. So this is some heavy duty Velcro that I had, I think from Walmart. And I'm cutting it in a thinner strip so that way when it's placed on the wood, you would not see it. And I take like the furry-ish part of the Velcro and I'm going to attach that to the actual greenery here. I do apply a little bit of hot glue just to make sure it stays. So when you like take it off, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't rip off. Does that make sense? Then I'm going to attach the other side of the Velcro onto there. Now I don't put any hot glue on this because this is like super crazy sticky. I apply it to the wood sign. You can definitely put some E6000 on there, just like added protection if you're selling the sign. This is going to my friend, so if I have any issues, I will let you guys know. But I don't think so. Okay, do you see how the right side now doesn't look as full as the left side when it was reversed when I started? Oh, that made me so mad. I've spent a lot of minutes trying to figure that out, but whatever, it is what it is. It's still beautiful. All right, you guys, that is the wood sign and she came out so pretty. We will be making this reversible and I'll be showing you how we do that and what we'll be painting it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know some wood round projects that you want to see next. All right, you guys, here she is, and she is looking so beautiful, and I cannot wait to walk you through this. This is amazing. Okay, so here's our sign from last week. Remember, it's already stained, so we're skipping that step. I fixed the holly branch on the right side, so it's not bothering me anymore. We're just going to take that off the Velcro, and then we're going to flip her around. Now I'm using this mat because I don't want a chance getting any debris or paint that's left over on my cardboard from another project. And then again, we had reused this, so those little holes, remember we put the Star Bond in there, but I did not stain over it. So that's why you can still kind of see them. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some painter's tape here, and we are just going to play around with the placement. Now this, you guys, is not my usual Scotch 33 Plus. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to try regular painter's tape, see how it holds up, and go from there. So I'm going to take my linen white chalk paint. We're going to use the roller as usual. Now remember, this is a reversible sign, so don't do the sides. Do not press hard on your roller because you do not want anything dripping on your sides. And then I am taking my blow dryer, and this is on cool setting. Do not use warm or hot air on your chalk paint because it will crack your chalk paint, and you obviously do not want that happening, okay? So after that is dry, and you guys, you'll know if chalk paint is dry because it will be completely matte. If you see any shininess to it, that means those are some wet spots there. So just make sure it's thoroughly dry before you do a second coat, because if you have wet spots of chalk paint and you try to go over it, it'll pull that first layer up. So here I am, gotta save your chalk paint, you know. So we are going to peel this off, and y'all, it worked very, very well. There were some kind of like hairline kind of bleeds here, but like nothing that anybody else would notice. Just me. I'm the only one that would notice that. Okay. So next we are going to put we're going to put some more painter's tape on here. Now reuse your painter's tape, you guys. And now I'm putting it so that you can see a very thin line of the white paint. And this is because I want the black to overlap just a little bit so that we don't accidentally have like a little gap in there or anything. You know what I'm saying? I will tell you though, when I make this sign for myself, I am going to leave it so that there's a stripe of the wood grain and then the next color. I think that would look stunning. So I was kind of worried because I was like, okay, I'm using the regular painter's tape on top of paint. Let's see if it causes bleeds. So I'm using the Rich Black by Folk Art. Y'all, this is seriously the best black chalk paint there is. It is so pigmented. You only need one coat of it, and you can get it on sale with a coupon at any of your craft stores, which is awesome. Waverly does have one called Ink, but it doesn't come in a bottle as big as this. And I truly don't think it's as pigmented as the Folk Art Rich Black either. So highly, highly recommend this color if you are going to be using black paint on any of your signs. I wish it came in like a gallon. Okay, so we got our stencil. I did write down the font this time. And let's see. Do we got any bleeds? Ooh, look at that. Look at that. I should have done that in slow-mo. Yes. This is when I'm like, okay, I think this is probably going to be my favorite sign. Yeah, get it, girl. Get it. Oh my gosh, look at that. Ooh, yes. You are. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. It's all uphill from here, y'all. Okay. So now we are going to, that I'm showing you is in between signs. I will just wrap my foam roller up so that it doesn't dry out in the meantime. For my stencil, you guys, I'm using Oramask 813 stencil film. Everything that I use is usually linked in my Amazon store link in the description box. If I cannot find it on Amazon, then I will find the link usually somewhere else and link it down below for you guys. I like using the stencil vinyl when I am painting on top of paint, but I ran out of my 6x1 vinyl, so that is why I'm using this one on this sign. But you know what? It works just as good, and it comes off so easy, which I absolutely love. This is also, this transfer tape is called Vinyl Ease, and it is my new favorite. It is my absolute favorite because it comes off it nicely. It doesn't leave any sticky residue. It is just great. So I'm pressing down all of this stencil vinyl. I want to make sure that it's in there good so we don't have any bleeds going under there. Reusing some painter's tape. Reuse it, you guys. You can get multiple uses out of painter's tape. And then we are only going to do one coat because that's all it needs with this Folk Art Rich Black chalk paint. I love it. And then, of course, I'm going to blow dry it. Like I said, I don't have any patience to wait for it to dry. And also, with Hank being around, dog hair gets in everything. And the last thing I want to do is let this like air dry and then him shake by it. And then there's dog hair. So look at peeling this up. Look how easy it comes up, you guys. Like, it doesn't splinter the wood. It's just seamless. Oh my gosh. You guys, this just came out so, so good. After I took this off, I sent a picture to my girlfriend right away. I was so, so happy with it. Look at this. Hercules, Hercules. I love it. Okay. So after this dries for 24 hours, especially let it dry for 24 hours with the black and the white next to each other, I'm using the Helmsman water-based clear satin. If you try to use oil-based on white paints, it will yellow the paint. So that is why we're using water-based. People ask all the time how I clean my brushes. Since this is water-based, all I do is clean this brush under warm water and let air dry. It is a chippy brush. These are super, super expensive, you guys, especially if you buy them in bulk on Amazon. And if one happens to just sit there and dry, it is okay. Just toss it. There ain't no saving it, okay? And again, cool setting if you are impatient like me. If you try to put warm air on to your clear coat, it causes like these little tiny, tiny bubbles, and it'll leave like a rough texture. All right, how we're going to make this reversible. Here you go. These are called eye hooks, you guys. They are tiny. Look, you can't even see them. I am using the smallest drill in my set. I will put the size in the description box. And what I'm going to use is a line from our panels as my guide here. So right there, there's a line. And I don't mark it or anything. I'm just trying to get in the middle of the side, that's all. And then I am just going to screw that in. I do have to end up getting my pliers to help me because this was a tough cookie. Sometimes you don't even need the drill depending on how soft the wood is, and sometimes you can just do it by hand. But for this, I definitely needed the pliers. Okay, now I'm pretty sure these come in bigger sizes, these eye hooks, but you seriously don't need any bigger than this, especially because you don't want them to be an eyesore. So we're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. And now I'm like, oh gosh, where did the other eye hook go? Okay, so see, there's a little tiny hole, and all I'm doing is screwing that in here. Okay, cute. And this is going to give us the chance. In the other reversible video I did, I drilled holes, so you can only do a bow on it, no greenery, nothing. This is going to give us the opportunity to add those greenery pieces and all of that. Okay, so let's go over to the bow. So I got this burlap ribbon from Walmart. It was in their fall collection. Wish I would have got more. And we are going to cut these strips into 18-inch long strips. So we're gonna do that for the burlap and for the buffalo plaid. Now I'm going to glue the ends of our burlap pieces together, and we are going to do that for all 3 of these babies here. And you only need a little bit, especially when you're dealing with burlap, and make sure you don't use a lot because it'll just go right through. And once I do this, I actually bend them, like flatten them out. You know what I'm saying? Flatten them out so that I can make sure that that seam that we just made is in the middle of our bow. All right. And you guys, if you're enjoying these videos and if you want to continue seeing more, please make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, share it with your friends if this is something that they're into, because it really, really helps support my channel out. And y'all know I appreciate it. Okay, so this ribbon I got from Hobby Lobby, and I am going to do the same thing. I'm just hot gluing the ends together, just using a light amount of glue. Do not go all heavy duty because you still want it to be able to kind of like bend it. And then I'm going to find the middle point on this one too, flatten it out. There we go. And I'm just going to lay this across my crisscross. And all I did right there, you guys, was pinch it together. That's it. Now I'm taking my zip tie. Do not tighten that zip tie until you are sure it is in the middle of your bow, okay? I mean, you can cut it off later, but still. So after I zip tie it, then I kind of just fluff it up, make sure it's what I want, that it's cute. Yep, she's super, super, super cute. Okay, you guys, this greenery I'm going to use, it is from Hobby Lobby. I found one pick of it, and I will leave the item number down below. I definitely need more because they are stunning, okay? So all I did was take some branches off. And look, I'm just feeding it through that zip tie, and they're not going anywhere. I mean, that zip tie is tight on there, as you'll see on this next branch. Like, I am stuffing it in there. It's not going anywhere, okay? And the way this greenery lays is just absolutely stunning. Look at that. Okay. So now we're going to cut a 5-inch strip out, and we're going to make a little tube out of this one here. So we're going to take our hot glue, do the ends. Here we go. You're going to take another zip tie. I'm using a shorter one on the middle, but you can use any size zip tie, it doesn't matter. And now we're going to just put that all together. We're going to zip tie that tight, cut the excess off, and the ribbon in the middle of this bow makes it so that you can't see any of the zip ties anymore. You can't see any of it. Look at, so it's one piece. Look at how flawless that looks, you guys. Yes. No stapling, no gluing the greenery to your board. Like this is what it's all about. So now we're going to take that Velcro that we used on our previous piece, And what I do forget to do here is hot glue the piece that we're putting on the greenery. So I did that last time because I felt like the actual bow and greenery part are what you're going to be like prying off of the wood round. So I wanted to have some extra stability there. So then I'm just taking the Velcro and I'm putting it directly on there. If you wanted added security, maybe add a couple dabs of E6000. I'm not sure how this will hold up. It's my first time using Velcro, so I will let you all know. Okay, so our hanger here, you guys. Sorry, I am not in frame for this at all. But I'm using this wired jute cord from the Dollar Tree. It is strong, you guys, and it is thick. And all I did was feed it through the eye hook, and I'm just twisting it together. And I'm using my pliers just to make sure I kind of like squeeze those wires together so they don't go anywhere. And now I'm just trying to figure out how long I want the top. And I do, sorry you guys, this is out of frame, but I do show you right here. Move the bow, move the bow. So I'm just twisting here. Now I do have to say that the actual jute on this wire was starting to like fray off. So I would suggest just placing some hot glue on it before, you know, you twist it up to make sure that it's all together and you don't have that issue. But y'all, this is it. She is stunning. This is seriously my favorite wood round that I have ever done. And I've done a lot. Like, this is my favorite. It is so modern. It's clean. It's beautiful. It stands out. The simplicity of it. It's just... So anyways, y'all, I hope this inspires you to have fun, get creative. Possibilities are endless with these signs. And again, if you would like to support my channel and my family, please make sure that you like this video, that you subscribe, make sure to share it as well. And again, as I always do, leave in comments what else you would like to see wood sign wise. With that said, have a good one. Hank? Get out of the trash, honey. There's no need to be in the trash. No. No, they're not. Hey. You want to tell everybody hi. Oh, hi, Hanky. Oh, Hanky says, oh, what? Hank, can you look right there? Oh, Hanky. All right. Okay. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Unicorn Dust Designs. My name is Sammy, and it is Wood Sign Wednesday, which I know a lot of you love. Do you love Wood Sign Wednesday? Yeah. That's literally dog hair. Like, and I wonder why I have dog hair all over. Living your best life, bro? Yeah. Yeah, just get everything hairy. It's cool. Cool. All right. And that's why I feel like I have dog hair all over me. Okay. I like how I have the skull. All right. Happy Wednesday, you guys. It is Wednesday. Yeah. You just kind of said that. Okay. Get your life together. Let's bust these out. Bust them out. Okay. 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 Here is the wood round we're going to be doing today, guys. I hope YouTube doesn't get mad at me for having a curse word on here, but I'm not going to say it. All right, so this is a wood round that I torched and I stained early American. If you guys remember the last one I did, totally different color. I will link that video up above. So I am taking my Scotch 233 Plus automotive tape for this one. And when my client sent me a picture, she sent me a picture and it was like raised wood that looked like almost real wood paneling. And I'm like, okay, I don't have a machine to cut that out, but I know I could give her the look that she is wanting. So I am taking the thinnest tape I had, and I am, of course, using those lines that are already on the board for you. Remember, these are glued together. These are panels of wood glued together. So you see those lines. And I believe I did every 2 panels, I believe. I did want it thicker panels because that's how the picture she sent me looked. And then I decided to go up just 1 more. And I think it's so easy it's so much easier when you have an inspiration pick to go off instead of like guessing what your client wants. But this was so cute, so easy. I'm going to take our linen white chalk paint and our foam roller. All this, y'all, are attached in my description box in the Amazon store link. And of course, you can buy these at any hardware store, usually craft stores, things like that. But they are down in the description box for you as well. Oh my goodness, my kids are nuts. So we're not going to be doing the sides on these. So I'm being very careful not to push down on my foam brush when I get to the sides. And also, you see how I'm going at a different angle, but then I go back over it in the same like direction as the rest of the paint. See how I like smooth over it? Because if I would have left it like that, you would see all of it. So then I could do a second coat after it dries. Y'all know I use my blow dryer to speed up that process just a little bit. And then we are going to take our tape off. You guys, save your tape. You can reuse your tape. It saves you money. These thinner ones, not so much. It's a little hard. They get all tangled up with each other. But do you see how that already is coming together and looks like it's paneled? Hello, so cute. Now you could also paint this white and draw your lines on there as well with like a paint pen or something. So keep that in mind as well, but that looks fabulous, of course. Okay, so this, you guys, is Aura Mask 813 stencil film. It is also linked in the Amazon store down below. I use this stencil film whenever I am painting on top of paint. So like when I am stenciling, I guess you could say, on top of just a stained wood piece, I use my regular 651 vinyl. If I were to use that vinyl on top of paint, it would rip the paint up with it basically. So this Aura Mask stencil film gives you the opportunity to get some clean lines. Now, it doesn't always give you like the cleanest, greatest lines. There were like some little hair bleeds on this project, but nothing that would be noticeable to anybody else but yourself being the artist in this, you know? So I absolutely love it. I always get a huge roll of it. It is great, great, great for many other projects, especially if you're going to sell DIY kits and things like that. But right here, I am rubbing the vinyl into like the cracks and stuff. That way, when I put my paint on, there's no gap where that paint could fall down into and cause my bleeds. So see, I'm just looking for any gaps there. Then I'm going to tape it off because I'm not always neat. And then I'm using my Folk Art Rich Black Chalk Paint, as I always do. And you guys, don't get discouraged if you have massive bleeds. It's gonna happen every now and then. It's happened to me more times than I can count, and I know it's frustrating, but that's what a sander is for. So using my blow dryer on cool setting, I am drying this up. I see that like wet looking spot. That was not a dry spot. So that's how you'll know if it's like dry or not. So the reason I did a second coat, usually I never have to do a second coat, but it was because of the lines in between. I had to make sure that they were matching. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so now we are peeling this away. I love stencil vinyl as well because it's so easy to pull away and it does not pull any of your paint up, any of your stain up. I mean, it is really effortless to use it. So I love this stuff here. Now, when you're weeding on top of paint, you have to move slowly and you have to make sure not to gouge your wood. Y'all, one day I am going to figure out the placement of my camera so you guys don't see my gray hairs and my dandruff and like the hot mess I am, okay? So like I was saying, don't gouge your wood. You just need to be soft. The Cricut weeding tool is seriously the best weeding tool. It has the pointiest, sharpest tip on it to easily grab that vinyl. So I highly recommend that. Gosh, my little baby hairs are out of control. They like all up in your face over here. Jeez. Jeez Louise. All right, so let's finish that up. In the sorry, messages keep popping up. All right, so now that we're done with that, you are gonna let this dry for 24 hours, even longer if you can, because this is black chalk paint and you do not wanna take the chance of it smearing when you apply your clear coat. So of course, we are using Helmsman because this is going to be going on a front door. I am just using, y'all, a cheap chippy brush. You can get these at the Dollar Tree. You could get them at hardware stores. You could get them on Amazon. They are found everywhere, okay? And they're super inexpensive. I am just coating this one time. Go with the grain of the wood. Make sure to get your sides so you don't have any cloudy balls of drips on the sides of your sign. And then I do use my blow dryer to help dry this out. Again, I have dog hair everywhere, so yeah. Okay, so this, you guys, is also a piece that I took from the Happy Fall Y'all sign I ripped apart. If you didn't see those videos, you need to see it. So this is basically, all it is the jute wire that I got at Dollar Tree, my D-hooks, and I'm just going to put my D-hooks on here basically. So I usually measure at the 16-inch mark across and then measure 3 inches in on each side. And then we're going to just drill that into place. I usually try to drill them in at like an angle. Do you see how they're kind of like pointed towards the middle, not like straight up? But that's preference. I don't know if it really changes anything or not, but that's what I like. Somebody also asked me if you can basically use like a rope and tie it with the D-hooks. And I will say, if you wanted to use like a very thin jute cord or twine, something thinner, I would definitely say go for it. But if you are using a thicker rope, remember that you're going to have knots. And if you have knots on the back of your sign, then your sign isn't going to sit flush with the door. And then that's when you'll hear that banging all the time when you open and close your door. So that's why I like doing it this way or with the ribbon hot glued together, because it'll sit flush with the door and you won't get all that banging. Okay. And just so you guys know, I did clear the back of this sign as well. I don't know why I did not show it, but I did clear the back of it. Bow time. Okay, so taking a bow, I always lay it on top of the wood round first to see how far off the board I want it to go, if I even want it to go that far anyways. And these are 10 inches long, you guys. And we are going to create a messy bow. A messy bow, you guys, is just kind of a bunch of ribbon. It could be scrap ribbon. It could be ribbon of your choice, all put together. And you just have to really play around with it. I literally spent like 20 minutes or more on this bow because I just could not find like my happy place with it. So the black and white checkered is from Hobby Lobby. It was like their $3.99 one. And then when you get it on 50% off, hello. The burlap is Dollar Tree. And this polka dot ribbon, y'all, I've had it forever. I don't remember where it's from. And really you're just going to crisscross. You're going to then put like a a piece of ribbon vertically. I mean, it's just going all different directions. You know what I'm saying? It's messy. That's the whole thing. You could also use fabric with this, but again, it's going outside. So if you did use fabric, it would go limp probably. So that's why it's nice to have the wired in there. The black burlap, you guys, wired ribbon I got is from Walmart, and it was from their fall collection. So using my zip tie as usual, we're going to hold that together. Now, do not tie that tight until you know for sure this is where you want your bow. It's in the middle. And then we're going to take our greenery again from Hobby. I'm obsessed with this stuff, you guys. Okay. So on this greenery, guys, you can move the leaves up. Like I'll show you. See how they move? So I want as much leaves, obviously, as possible to show. So I'm going to move all of these up. And you guys, I never pay full price for anything. This greenery is like $9.99 a bundle, but there's no way. I know I had to have done like 50% off or something. I don't know. Okay, so now I'm sticking these in my zip ties. You guys, these are not going anywhere. They are secured in, and it is so nice not having to deal with stapling stuff to your wood round or hot gluing piece by piece by piece. This is just making your bow and your life so much easier by it all just being in one place and just all together. So like I said, don't tighten that zip tie until you're done playing around with it. Just like I am now, I'm kind of moving things around, moving my ribbon around, and then I will do my final tighten. There we go. And then we're going to cut that remainder off. Now in the inspiration pic she sent me, it was like a buffalo plaid bow, like a regular bow, wrapped with twine in the middle. So I wanted to keep her inspiration, you know, piece, but I wanted to have my own take on it, put my own touch. I didn't want to copy somebody's sign, you know, word for word, if you say. And of course, you guys always check with your customer before you apply it on, because obviously this did not look exactly like the picture she sent. So I made sure to message her and say, is this okay? Do you like this? And she did. So you guys, I'm just wrapping that around. We're going to secure that off with some hot glue, and then we are going to attach it to our wood sign over here. So let's cut the remainder off, and this bow turned out so cute, you guys. And this is how I just close off my ribbon. Okay, so sorry I am not in frame, but all I'm doing is applying E6000 and then topping the E6000 with hot glue. And E6000 is like a jelly texture, so that's why I do hot glue. And then you could get a book or a wood sign, something heavy, and I'll put it on top of that bow, leave it overnight for 24 hours. And y'all, here is our sign. How cute did that turn out? I love that you could see like the charcoaled wood under there. It looks paneled, it's bright. I mean, you could definitely read it. I think it turned out great. All right, you guys, let's get started. So something I didn't show you guys before I started this was I did sand them. Also make sure to sand the edges of this. It comes super, super rough, and you want those edges very smooth, so make sure to do that. Here I'm using Winston-Salem wood stain in Golden Pecan, and I use a microfiber towel. I just get them and cut really, I mean, they're pretty small squares, maybe like a 2x2, even 1x1, depending on what I'm doing. I find that the microfiber towel cloths, whatever they are, I feel like they hold a lot more of the stain and go a lot further. I have tried rags, I've tried t-shirts, and I've also tried the foam brushes. That's actually what I started off with because I saw it in a YouTube video. Here's my perfect husband feeding me a snack. Anyways, I saw it in a video, and so when I first started, I was doing foam brushes, letting it set for a long time, and then I would come back, I'd wipe the excess off. But I find that this way with the microfiber towel works amazing. Here, I'm going into the edges. This is where I said it needs to be smooth or else it'll just look super rough if you do not sand these edges down. And as you can see, I'm dipping my finger in and then putting it on the towel because I do not want to oversaturate it where it's going to run and then seep onto the other side of the wood round. So I'm just taking my time with it. And here you go. Because you can dip your towel in there. I mean, it's up to you. You could get microfiber towels. You could get big pack at Menards, Home Depot. You could even find them at the Dollar Tree, but you're only getting one. So I haven't really figured out if that is the best value or not. Then you are going to stain your back. I know there are some people who do not stain the back of their signs because they find that it's a waste of product when it's never going to show because it's against a wall or a door or whatever it may be. But for myself, I like the product to look very finished. So I go ahead and stain the front and the back. And it's an extra barrier too, but like for the wood, especially if it's going to be a sign that's hanging outside, I rather it be double sealed. And then here is that one. And now this weathered gray, you guys, is probably one of my most popular colors of stain, other than I would say Jacobian and yeah, I would say Jacobian and weathered gray are probably my most popular stains. And this one is from Varathane. And you guys, if you're just starting off, get these smaller cans before you get the bigger ones, because then you'll kind of know which ones are going to be more popular for you, which ones you're going to use more, and you're not overspending when you're starting out doing these things. And also keep in mind, if you are not someone that's going to do this like every week or every day for a business, you can create your own stain, which I do have a video on my channel of that. Oh, look at that wood grain, you guys. That is absolutely stunning. All right, this is Hellsman. I just actually switched over to this. I'm going to apply it with a chippy brush. And just make sure I shake mine. It says stir. Do what you do. I find that shaking is perfectly fine. I also use, you guys, polyacrylic, and I know that's for inside use, but I've never had an issue with it. Don't ask me why I'm smelling this. I've never had an issue with polyacrylic, so to each their own. But I tried this out and I really liked it. Just like polyacrylic, this does have like a watery texture to it, and this is water-based, you guys, this sealer. So a little bit goes a very long way. And make sure if you have runs that are going on the side of your piece of wood that you get that brush and you wipe it, or I don't know, wipe it down, I guess. I don't know. See how I'm doing the sides? Because if it runs and you let it dry like that, then you're going to have like this cloudy glob of paint right there. I say a lot. I'm sorry. And for this one, you guys, when you're doing the rounds, make sure you get every inch of that, because when these dry, they'll show like little streaks of where you did not get that clear coat. So now I am measuring my piece of wood because I'm going to go ahead and put the D hooks on. D hooks are what I use to hang my burlap ribbon on my signs. I find it's the easiest. I feel like it gives you more leverage too on hanging for like evenness. I don't know if that makes sense. These are the large D hooks. I can make sure to link them down below. I get them from Amazon, comes in a huge pack. For these wood signs, wood rounds, I am using I think it's 17.5 inch. I get mine from Home Depot. I find they're most cost effective there. Then Lowe's are Menards. And I am going 3 inches in on each side. It's about, I think, like just from the line to the line, not the edge, around 16 inches, I believe. And that, I gotta stop saying you guys. The thing I love about these wood rounds is they are panels of wood pressed and glued together. So majority of them you'll see have lines already there for you to help you create an even line of where to hang them. So for this one, yeah, couldn't find them. Some of them are a little harder to find, but they are there, which I really like, because unless you guys know how to get a straight line, let me know, because I swear I have the most difficult time finding them. So these wood panels do help a lot, and these do take a screw gun. I've seen people use like wire hanging backs with screws and other things like that, but these are so heavy. I just feel like this is the two D-hooks are added security. Okay, so now you guys, we are going to tape this off. I am doing a last name established sign. Both of these are going to be door hangers. And again, I am finding the line because, again, this is paneled wood. So there is a line, very straight line, and it makes it so easy. And I am just using painter's tape. You can find painter's tape at any hardware store. The Dollar Tree even has painter's tape, and it works just as good. The only thing is it doesn't have like the cardboard piece inside. It's kind of weird. But I got mine at Menards. It comes in all sizes, so like 1 inch, half an inch, whatever you need. I have all of them. And I go ahead and I follow my tape all the way around because I like to paint the edges. Some people don't paint the edges, and that's totally fine. I just feel like it gives it more of a finished look when I do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and repeat, do the same thing. The gray one was a lot easier. I could totally see the sign, or the sign. I could see the line. And make sure, you guys, that tape is pressed down very good, because you do not want anything going under there. So here are the decals that I'm going to use. I guess it wouldn't be called a stencil. I guess a decal. I love, you guys. Okay, you guys, make sure you check your decal, because I'm definitely starting to put the wrong name on here, and oh look, I think I realize it, like right about, hey, that doesn't belong on this sign. Yeah, so make sure you double check that. But for me, I love the look of wood. I love the look of wood grain. So anytime I can make a sign that is not paint on paint, then I won't do it. So like, for instance, this one, I could have easily chalk painted it white on the bottom and then painted the name on with gray as well. But I want to see that wood grain. I mean, that's why you're buying a wood sign, right? So I always lay my decals down first. And I paint over them so that when you lift that decal up, you are going to see the beautiful wood grain on the bottom instead of just a stark gray font, you know? So here I am just peeling this off. And you guys, I get my contact paper from Dollar Tree. Works amazing. Perfectly fine. Love it. I also use a couple other ones. There's some I get at Walmart, offline, just preference here. So I'm using Rust-Oleum chalk paints, and I am using a mini roller. I find that this gives me the most even paint base. If somebody wanted a sign that was more rustic, I would use like a chippy brush and go over it. But they want this very clean and classy, so I go over it with the foam brush. And here I go. I'm going to get those sides making sure not to press too hard because I don't want that chalk paint to run over to the back of it. And make sure with this, you guys, you are getting nice, soft, even coats. You do not have to press hard on your roller to disperse color. So you see right there. And now I'm gonna go let it dry. And we are back, you guys. We are back. Don't mind the brown sign. I ended up trying to go back and make another decal because I made it too big. And you guys, I don't know what was up with that sign, but it gave me so many issues. So here we are, and we are doing the second coat. And again, light, even coats. And make sure your chalk paint is all the way dry, you guys. If you try to go over wet chalk paint, it's just going to pick that previous layer back up, and it's going to look splotchy and no bueno. And if you guys are impatient like me, then get a blow dryer out and dry it, and it works amazing. I have a blow dryer over here, and I have a heat gun at my craft table, and I am so glad I watched YouTube because I would have never figured that out ever. So here's my little one. He's the only one that comes down here. My daughter's like, nope, I'm gonna stay upstairs all day, which is fine. Okay, now we are going to take our decal off. This is thoroughly dry. This one I actually even dried with the hair dryer. And we are just taking this off. And you see, you guys, how you can see the wood under it? Like, I love that. Ooh. Sometimes this is relaxing for people. Is it relaxing for you? I'm all looking at it and I'm like, oh, this kind of is relaxing. Make sure, you guys, when you are using your weeding tool, not to push so hard underneath that vinyl when you're trying to pick it up, because it will leave grooves in the wood. You can take some of the paint off as well. So just make sure you're being careful. Get those corners of them. And just so you know, I did use 651 vinyl. I feel like this is the best for me. I feel like it really sticks to the wood so that paint doesn't seep under it. And here you guys go, and I'll show you the gray. Those turned out great. See how you could see that wood grain underneath the gray? Perfection. Okay. Now we're back to the workstation. Our paint is thoroughly dry. I am dusting off all of the chalk paint, and we are going to go back over this. So in the beginning of this video, we did the back because I screw on the D hooks before I paint. So that's why I do the back first. Now everything's dry. We've dusted off all of like the chalk paint that may have fallen off, and I am going over this, and I am putting on another coat. You guys can follow the 1 to 3 coats. I usually do 1 to 2 coats depending on what I'm doing and how, I guess, you could say it's going to be outside. So like, is it going to be directly outside? Is it going to be like inside a storm door? I take those factors into play when creating signs. You guys, I do not know why this clip is in slow-mo, so I apologize now. But it works great. It dries. It doesn't dry as fast as polyacrylic, but I also took a blow dryer to these as well and dried them. And I'm making sure again to get those sides, because if you let them dry with those drips on it, you are going to have like cloudy, hard, like bubbled up edges, and you don't want that, and then you're going to have to sand it down, and then it doesn't match. And so you guys take your time and do it right the first time. And make sure to dust that chippy brush off. I cannot stand when those dang things shed. Oh my gosh, I don't know why this is in slow-mo. It should have been sped up, so hopefully you guys don't have to watch this for much longer. But you guys can hear me babble. I don't know how to do music yet, and my voice, so we'll have to figure that out. my gosh, what is happening? It's like, here is my sign. Just kidding. And like I said, I noticed that there was a streak here where there was no Hellsman on there. So I went back over it because, again, when this dries, if there is a piece you didn't get, you will definitely notice it. And the thing with Hellsman, you guys, it only comes in like a satin or glossy. What I like about polyacrylic is you can get matte with that. And Hellsman doesn't come in matte, or at least I can't find it in matte. Okay, come on, you get it. Okay, now is it back to normal? Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm horrible at this. I didn't record me doing any of the flowers. I didn't even record me gluing it on. So if you guys want to see that, I could do another video on how I do my florals, how I do my bows. I can do, I could do a lot of bows and a lot of florals. So let me know and I can definitely do a video on that. So these are my D-hooks. You guys, this ribbon I get at the Dollar Tree, and it is so, I don't want to say thick, but it is so strong. I cut them into 22-inch in length. I am using this, it's just like a cardboard piece or paper, whatever. I put this under because I need to put my hot glue on here, and then I press it down, and I don't obviously want the hot glue getting on the back of my sign. So I use that as a layer of protection. And here I go. I'm rubbing that's my hot glue gun color pencil thing. There's so much hot glue on there at this point. My watch is telling me to breathe, and I'm like, I do not have a minute to breathe right now. Just back off, you know. Smartwatch is telling you what to do and all. So now I'm just waiting till it dries. It'll harden up, you guys. This stuff, it will not go anywhere. This Dollar Tree ribbon, it comes in polka dot, chevron print. They have plain like burlap, everything. So the customer, since she was going with more of a simple look with her greenery and her bow, we decided that the chevron print was going to add just the right touch to this sign, and it did. It looks so cute hanging up. I love it. So there it is. Sorry, it's a weird angle, but you will see a picture of it at the end. So what am I doing here? Who knows? See, I don't even know what I'm doing in the video. I think I'm going to go ahead and put this. Okay, so this, you guys, is, I think it's baby lamp. Here, I got some right here. It is from Walmart. It is Mainstay, and it is their eucalyptus, but it's like a mini eucalyptus because they have a couple of them there. They have bigger and they have smaller. This burlap ribbon I'm using was also from Walmart, and they come in all different colors. And right now I already created the middle of the bow, but what I'm doing right here is taking the bow, taking the greenery, and then I'm going to use the middle part of the bow to attach everything together. That way I'm not having to glue my greenery down, then glue the bow down, because I find when you do that, it does not cover the stems of the greenery as well as I would like. And I feel like it's harder to glue down greenery. Like it pops up, you have to hold it down forever. Here, I'm just going to glue everything together. That way, when I'm ready to put that on the sign, I'm going to put E6000 all over the back along with a little hot glue, and it's on there and it's done. I don't have to do a glue and then a glue and then a glue. So here I am just getting them. And you guys, I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but sometimes when I glue greenery or flowers directly on, the little like plastic pieces start to melt off and it kind of falls apart. So I don't know if that's just me or my hot gun's too hot, but yeah, that's my problem. And you guys, I did not record the brown one because that one took a very long time. I did not think you guys wanted to hang around for that. It was a floral sign with custom flowers and all that stuff. So if you do want to see that, please go to my Facebook page. It is Unicorn Dust Designs, and I will be posting it there. And I don't even think I show you guys my bow. I'm like admiring it. Like, yeah, this looks awesome. I did great. And you guys aren't going to see it. Okay. So no, need more hot glue. And you guys, with this burlap, so you can't just like hold it down. I always use the pencil you've seen me use to kind of smush it down, I guess, so that it gets in all of the little crevices, because it is hard to just, like if you put glue and you just put it over, it's not going to stay. It's going to pop right back up. So as you can see, I'm using my pencil to hold that down and make sure the glue is spreading out here. And you guys, if you don't have E6000, you better go to Walmart and pick yourself up some. I had never used it before, started watching YouTube videos, of course. Pick that up, and when you are putting something like this on a sign, E6000 is like concrete. Like, it is not going to budge. It is not going to fall off over time. Like, it is legit there to stay forever. And especially if you're putting a sign outside, it's going to be worth it. So here's the finished project. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys subscribe and give me the thumbs up button. And I hope this helped you guys. Have a good one, and I will be talking to you soon. Just as a reminder, you guys, I am on Instagram at UnicornDustDesigns, and I do a lot of posting of my family, behind the scenes, decor, complete randomness. Hank, your guys' favorite. So definitely head on over to Instagram and go ahead and follow me, and I look forward to seeing your comments over there. All right, let's get back to the wood signs, y'all. Guys, our sugar skull wood round. Here she is, looking all beautiful, stunning. This is gonna look so good, you guys. So as with anything, I have my wood round that I purchased at Home Depot. This is the 17.5-inch round. I already sanded it. I sand with 80 grit and then smooth it down with 220. I am using true black stain. You could also use ebony if you need a black, but this one is like super black, you guys. I am also using a microfiber cloth. I just cut those up into little 2x2 squares, and I love using these because they hold a lot of the stain, and they don't, it doesn't like drip off of it or anything. Of course, you can use foam brushes, shirts, rags, I mean, whatever you want. This is just what I've always used, and I really like it. I've tried every way of staining, and this is by far the best one. I don't wipe any of the stain off. I'm like almost rubbing it into the wood, if that makes sense. And then we're gonna get our sides. Make sure when you are sanding your piece of wood that you get the sides of these wood rounds, because they are super rough. And if you try to stain them, if they are not smooth, they just look super sketch, you guys. So take the time and sand the entire thing down. I also stain the back of my signs as well. And then when I am done with these, I prop them up against something. You don't want to just lay it flat, because obviously one side won't get as dry as the other. And you will know your signs are dry when you can rub your hand over it and it doesn't feel oily, and you will not have any residue like show up on your hand. Like the stain color will not transferred to your hand. So make sure you give it plenty of dry time, about 24 hours. Now, you guys, Sugar Skull. Dollar Tree is killing it, y'all. This is from Dollar Tree, okay? There's also a dude one, and he is wearing a top hat. So go snag you some of these. So I'm using a brown paint. I will attach all the colors in the description box. And I am going to just lightly coat this with the brown paint. And make sure you guys don't like go heavy-handed in there. You're going to have a lot of wasted paint go through those holes. And I am using my paintbrushes from Walmart. I actually took a picture of them, so I will make sure that I try and find those and link them in the description box. So you guys, we are trying Crackle Medium on this. Few tips and tricks for Crackle. First, this layer needs to be completely dry. So this brown is completely dry. I am now applying the Crackle Medium. So, couple things. This is my first time successfully using it because I tried to do it on chalk paint first, when the bottle clearly states it is for acrylic paint. So, make sure if you're using this, you are using acrylic paint. So that's why I went to Walmart and grabbed some of these apple barrel colors, only 50 cents each, so you can't beat that. And now I'm applying the Crackle paint over. Now, usually I would get like my heat gun after I was done and kind of do a fast drying, but it mentioned on the bottle like not to do it in humidity, so I didn't know if the heat would affect how it would turn out or not. So I decided to just let it dry on its own, just naturally, and then go back to it. This has to be completely dry before you can put your next layer on. And it says on the bottle to use contrasting colors. So that's why I decided to paint the bottom brown, and then the top we are going to put white. And it makes sense why you would want contrasting colors, but I'm sure it would be fine. So here I go, you guys. So I'm dragging it up. It almost has like a drag, I want to say feel texture. Like when you put your brush on it, it feels like you're like getting caught on something almost. And you can't like go back and forth on the same one, if that makes sense at all. So you just got to like do your coats, because if you try to go back on top of like a coat you already did, it's going to give you that like dragging feel. I am not a painter, obviously, because I cannot explain this whatsoever. But you can already see like this is exactly how it's going to look. It gives you that aged look, like this has been sitting outside weathering, and it looks so cool. Like I want to use this Crackle Medium on everything, and I just think it goes with the whole skull so well because it looks like it's cracked, like it's vintage. Like I just love it. And you see how that brown peeks through like the cracks and the like, I don't even know, you guys. This is so cool. So look at that. And this isn't even dry yet. But you see like the crackle, it looks aged. It looks like old wood that you would find outside. Ooh, I love her. What are we going to name her? What do you think her name should be, you guys? Because she cute. Okay, so I wanted her flower to pop, so I'm using, I think this is called like Diva Pink. And this is also, I think, an apple barrel, not sure. But just going in with a smaller brush. I'm gonna paint that. I do 2 coats of this pink so that I get a brighter flower. And then I'm gonna also go in with a green color and just ever so slightly outline those little leaves so that you see them, because they kind of like blend in to the skull if you don't. So here I go. Am I gonna show you this? No. Come on now. Oh, there we go, girl. So look at how much brighter it looks with 2 coats on it. And then here's the green, just really, really light outline of the green. I didn't want to paint this sugar skull. I mean, get on with your bad self if you want to, but I just wanted this like super classic and white, and I love it. And I dropped a green paintbrush on there. Okay, so she needs to be cleared, and so does our board. I want to clarify, I like to clear the back of my wood signs first, because I don't like when I paint and do my design and then put my board face down, because there's like so much residue on like my tables and stuff like that that I don't want to chance messing it up. So I just always do the back first, and it saves you time too, because while this is drying, you could be working on something else. So that is why I am doing the back first. And I am going to also be doing our, I am speeding up the process of drying, you guys, and I have my blow dryer on cool air, okay? I'm not using hot, just trying to speed this up because I was doing it last minute. And we will set her to the side as well. Make sure you also get the sides of your board as well. And then I am just using this rack from Dollar Tree because I was afraid it was going to like get in the cracks and then get stuck to the paper. But this hopefully will be a door hanger, so I wanted to protect the skull as well as the wood round. So that is why I decided to coat her with Helmsman. And you guys, this is water-based, okay? I have this linked in the description box. You want to get water-based because it will not yellow your white. So that is what I'm using. This is also clear satin. You could get it on Amazon. You could get it at most of your hardware stores. And now look at her. She looks so good. I'd go on a date with her for sure. Look at how cute. I can't wait to play around with the top hat guy too. So run, you guys, and get those. So I wasn't recording when I did the D-hooks, but you guys, I've done the D-hooks in almost all my wood round videos. I say all my wood round videos. There's only been 2. But I will just link one above if you want to go there and see how I do that. And then I usually hot glue, but since this was fabric and it was wired ribbon, I decided to tie it in a knot because it had a strong hold to it. I didn't want to use the hot glue on the fabric. I don't know why. Yeah, I just went with it, okay? So this is how I did it. Now I want to make a bow. So that is why I have like the skull and my decal out, because I want to see how much room I'm going to have to make that bow. And it'll also give me a guide of how big. So I'm just looping this around. This bow is also, this ribbon is from the Dollar Tree. Can you believe it? So I am just wrapping these around. I think there's like 3 or 4 loops total. There was like an extra loop in there. I had to hide it. But so I'm gonna fold this in half eventually. Yes, there we go. Fold it in half to find my center. Then I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to basically cut little notches, but do not go all the way to the middle. I would say it's probably like maybe ½ an inch on this ribbon, and I think these are like 2 inches wide. So if you see, I got little cuts in there. And then we're gonna get our zip tie. You can also use string if you want, jute, whatever. But I swear by my zip ties, you guys. You could get those at the Dollar Tree too. These black ones though, I stole from my husband. They're like little mini zip ties and I love using them, so. All right, so there that is. We got that zip tie on. Now we're just going to take out our bows, and we'll have 3 on each side. I should have, if I would have looped it again, I would have had 4, because I did find like a random 4th loop in there somewhere. I don't know how that happened, but I like the 3, so I kind of just like stuffed it back in. Nobody will know. except you guys, of course. So look at how cute, and you can totally see the sugar skulls on this ribbon, which I love. Like, it doesn't look like just chaos. Like, you can actually see the bases on there, which is super cute. Okay, now gosh, hello, big forehead. Jeez Louise. I'm a hot mess this week, y'all. Like, seriously hot mess. I am finishing this right now, and it is Wednesday at 3 p.m. Like, oh, your girl, she's a hot mess. Don't know why I'm still playing around with this ribbon. You know, I always think, see, there, I was like, oh crap, there's 4 pieces of ribbon right here. But, and then I tried like fluffing it out, but yeah, I'm not like you know, the big giant bows that are usually like more around the holidays. I don't know if I'm that kind of a big bow girl, you know? I think I just like it. No, let's stuff that one back in. Let's just stuff it back in. I always think that I edit these videos like pretty good, and I go over them, and then I find sections like this where I'm like, wow, you could have cut that out, or you could have sped it up so people don't have to hear you talk for like 5 minutes or so, you know? Yeah, no, Sammy, that doesn't look cute. Tuck her back in. Yes, so that's what I did. I hid it. We don't need that one. That's like an extra pinky toe that we do not need at all. How do you guys like this frame, like how I'm shooting the video, because I keep going back and forth with it. Okay, so now hopefully I was like, that looks plain. Well, so I am going to play around with this skull, which these are from the Dollar Tree too, or this one, which I took off some flowers from the Dollar Tree. And obviously you guys have seen the pictures. I decided to go with the skull. But before that, I was like, let me paint this pink and see how this goes. Because, I mean, I was digging it, but everybody that I asked for opinions said the glittery skull, so that's what I went with. Tell me down below, do you like the pink? Or do you like what I ended up going with, which is the glitter skull? That one was also much bigger too. I'm all looking at it like, yeah. Tell me what you guys think. Would you have gone pink? All right, so now we are doing our stencil. I made this off my Cameo 4. I am using 651 vinyl, and yeah, I just made this myself. I will link the fonts down below because I got it at depont.com. And now I am using a makeup sponge for this one because it's a chalk paint I got on clearance like when I first started making wood signs, and it's like a textured chalk paint. I highly doubt I'll be able to find a link, but if I do, I will put it down below. So I didn't want to use the roller because I didn't really know like how it would affect the paint. So I just went in with the makeup sponge. I did have to do 2 coats of this to make it bold and vibrant. And when I say textured, like when you take the stenciled off, it's almost like raised up a little bit, and it feels almost like a sandpaper, if that makes sense. So, you guys, this happens sometimes. I took my vinyl off and it left the vinyl like marking on it. Like you can see, I'm gonna show you right here. See how you can see where the vinyl was? Like you could see the square of it. It took off a layer of that stain. Doesn't always happen, but sometimes, like right now, it did, and it kind of like took up some of my wood grain. But you know what? I used to get so bent out of shape about stuff like that. Now I just try and figure out, okay, how can I fix this? Like, how can I make this better so I don't have to start it all over again? And my thought was get 220 sandpaper, and I'm gonna just distress this down a little bit. But you know what? Everything happens for a reason, because it looks so good distressed. It kind of goes with the skull because the skull is weathered and all that stuff. So I started on the opposite side of the words because I wanted to distress that down first to match what the vinyl had taken off, if that makes sense. So I just go over this slightly, make sure to get my corners, clean that up, and then now I am doing my clear coat on the top. I want to make clear that I do not ever put clear on the top of my sign before I paint. Always after. Make sure to get the sides. You do not want cloudy globs of clear on your board, especially if you're going to try and sell it. So get those good, okay? And then again, you can let this dry. You can speed up the process with your blow dryer, whatever it may be. So now we're back over here. Our board's done. It's dry. Your girl's going to be extra, and I'm putting little diamonds in the skull's eyeball. Can you see that? You know your girl's got to be extra. I mean, come on now. Shoot. Get that bling. I love bling. I can't wait to be like a super old lady one day, and I'm just going to rock the bling and like take my dazzler everywhere with me and try to bedazzle people. All right, so attaching this skull. I'm using E6000. Now, I've mentioned this a million times. E6000 has like a jelly consistency, so it will not dry down. It takes almost 24 hours for E6000 to dry down. So I get my hot glue gun, but you know what, you guys? My big one, it broke. So I'm using this smaller SureBonder one, and it just does not pump out the hot glue fast enough that it definitely ended up like drying before I can lay it down. So I couldn't get it to stick. But then I went back in and just like, I tried pumping out that hot glue as fast as I could, and then it ended up sticking. So thank goodness, because your girl was about to start tripping, okay? I really need a replacement for my bigger glue gun because I love this fine tip one, but now I'm like, all right, hold it in. So now we're finishing her up, you guys. Putting some hot glue and sticking her on, and she is done, and she is beautiful, and she is ready to go. Hopefully somebody loves her and gives her a home, because I think this is super cool. All right, Halloween DIY kit, you guys. This is how you are going to make some coin, okay? And these can be done for any season. This is the one that I saw. I saw it on Pinterest, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is such a great idea. This is all the stuff you're going to need. So these are 1x4s. You need one 10.5-inch long, and then those three are 3.5 inches long. I created these decals on my Cameo, and a ghost, a pumpkin, and Frankenstein. Then you will give them these. They're 50 cents each, okay? So we have 4 colors. You will also need to make a trick-or-treat decal, 4 actually foam brushes, sandpaper. This little wood stick is in a huge pack from Dollar Tree, and I used raffia, but you can also use ribbon. So if you guys didn't want to give them a whole bottle of paint, you could squeeze them in those. Those are from Dollar Tree, but seriously, save your time and just give them the whole bottle. And then if they make more purchases of DIY kits from you, then they can maybe like not get the paint, and you could charge them a little less. So with your DIY kit, you guys, you need to make a video. You need to post it somewhere on your page, on a link, on a website, or whatever it may be to direct your customers to. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing. So right here, I'm just taking the black acrylic paint. I'm coating this. This was a scrap piece of wood, so it is super rough on the bottom, so I do not end up painting the entire thing. And you don't have to paint the entire bottom if you don't want to either, because it is going to be sitting on your surface. So the sandpaper, this is if you want a distressed look to your little Halloween decoration. You do not have to do the sandpaper. It is just there as an option. And then of course I create a big old mess. Now we are going to take our trick or treat decal. You want to make sure that you run over it with, you know, a library card, a debit card, something like that, so that you make sure it is sticking to your transfer paper. And obviously I need a better transfer paper when giving this to my customers, which I would try to use up this silhouette transfer paper. So we are going to get that. You are going to put that on your piece of wood. And then we are going to rub that down, make sure she is stuck really good to our wood. And if you ever have issues with, you know, your letters not sticking, which happen, you just need to put a little bit more pressure on it. It'll be fine. They will stick. This is permanent vinyl. All right. Now our base for our sign is done. Now we are going to start with our little baby pieces. So we are using our orange paint, and this is going to be our little pumpkin, which is super adorable. Again, scrap piece of wood, so like, these are rough. You know what I mean? And like I said, I showed three sponges in the beginning, but you actually need 4 because obviously you're giving them 4 different color paints. So keep that in mind. As we are doing this, I will let you know what the cost is to make this. So assuming you buy like a really good piece of 1x4, and then this will be the price. And I'm saying like a 1x4 that's around $4.50. They do have way cheaper than that, like maybe $2. So you would even be making more money off of it. But I totaled everything up, you guys. And this is with a nice piece of 1x4. You would spend on materials, that's including just giving them the bottles of the paint, $9.61. And like how I'm super exact, around $9.61. And you can sell these for $20. And that's 50% profit right there. And remember, you're not painting, you're not doing any of this stuff. You are packaging this kit up for them and they are doing the work themselves. So $20, come on, like everybody, kids can do this, you know, girls can do this, have a wine night with your girlfriends, do it with like your husband or your wife or whatever. And these are going to be great. People are at home right now. So get creative with your DIY kits. People will buy them, you guys. So I hope that this helps some of you, especially starting out your business, make some money to put back into your business. So right here, I am just taking our decals that we made and we are putting them on. I forgot, I should have made the eyes like a little bit easier on this Frankenstein because customers will have to weed his eyes out. That sounded really weird, but I would just give them like a toothpick or something because it's literally like a couple pieces. And you were gonna just do this for all 3 of them. And make sure you guys, when you're making this DIY video, you know, have fun with it, especially if this is like your first one. You want people to like come back to it. You know, you want people to be like, oh, wow, that was fun. The person doing the video was fun and thorough and whatever. Because a lot of the times people have no idea what vinyl is. They don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, so make sure that you are explaining everything that you're doing. And then the next time they buy a DIY kit from you, they will have more knowledge on the process. So I am just using my heat gun to kind of speed it up for this video, but this is where, you know, I'd be going and grabbing another bottle of wine. I said bottle, I should have said glass. Oops. You know, if you were like hanging out with your girlfriends or whatever, just take those, let them dry naturally if you want. Or if you're like me and impatient, then grab a blow dryer, help yourself out there, dry it up. So this is what I was telling you, the Frankenstein, his little eyes. So I would just put something in there. Okay, so drying them up, because with acrylic paint, I find that if I take the vinyl off before it's completely dry, it doesn't like rip up any of the paint. I know that sounds weird, but okay. So, and I'm just showing you right here too. These are just options. You could distress your little pieces. You don't have to. I only did it with the pumpkin just to kind of show you what I was doing. Now we're gonna do the stem to the pumpkin. Now you guys, I am hot gluing this. You can also drill a hole so that they literally don't have to use any of their own materials. Like if someone didn't own a hot glue gun, you can drill a little hole in there. You just make sure the stem that you send away with them fits in there. But I just hot glued mine for video reasons. And then I'm getting raffia. You can also include like a little green piece of fabric in there or green ribbon or whatever you want. Twine they can use. I just chose this. I thought it looked a little bit more rustic with the raffia. And all of that stuff, you guys, you could get at the Dollar Tree. You know what I'm saying? So just be smart about your shopping when you're doing these. Look for more cost-effective things. If you want me to go ahead and like link where you could get like bulk sponges, things like that, let me know, because I did price around. And look at how cute. Like for $20, somebody, a lot of people actually, are going to want this kit for $20. And it's a great price too to like start with, you know, like don't try to overprice something, because you want people to find your business. You want people to be like, oh my gosh, that's a great price. And guess what? Your business is then going to stand out. So you guys, here we are done. I hope you guys had fun with me making these signs. I hope that you learned a lot with the DIY kit. If you guys end up doing any of these, please tag me in on Instagram. I love seeing it. And let me know if you're going to be trying this DIY kit. I can't wait to like figure out more ways of doing those. So I hope you guys have a good week. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Bye. All right, y'all, we are going to start out with Min Wax Ebony. I get my wood rounds at Home Depot. They measure about 17.5 inches in diameter and about an inch thick. You can also get them at Menards and Lowe's as well. So for me, I have tried every sponge brush, towels, everything. And what works for me staining wise is these microfiber towels. I cut them in about 2x2 squares, and I love them because they hold a lot of the stain. So you're not dipping and dipping and dipping, and you're not wasting, which I love. So you can see just by dipping that one time how much stain I was able to get out of that towel. So that is the method I prefer. You do have to toss them afterwards. And for this, make sure when you are sanding these that you sand the sides, because the sides are the roughest part, and trust me, it will show when you stain it. When I stain, I always go with the grain of the wood, or at least I try to. And oh, you guys, look at that grain. Oh my gosh, this is ebony is a beautiful color, and I use it all the time. So now I have my decals, and I made these with my Cricut design space. And what I'm doing here is I'm taking my Scotch 233 Plus automotive tape, and I am using the lines that are in the wood round, okay? They're glued pieces of wood, okay? So there are lines there for you. Utilize those, take your time, find them. It just makes it so much easier. So now I'm trying to lay my vinyl, and this is Oracle 651 permanent vinyl. And I'm having a tough time because there's so much text here. I don't want it to be lopsided or uneven, because that would just look horrible, especially with a straight line right above it. So I am looking at this, and if you do wood rounds or any wood signs, then I'm sure you've done this multiple times. And I'm just not confident in like my eyeballing at this point. So what I do is I'm going to take some painter's tape, and I'm going to use those lines that are already there for us. And when I place my vinyl on top of it, I have this nice straight line where I know that my text is going to be straight. So Katie Brown is my realtor, you guys, and I did ask her permission to put her phone number on here, and she said, oh, that was fine. So if you guys are looking for a great realtor, she is your gal, and she can give you referrals in other states as well. You're welcome, Katie. Okay, so now I'm taking another stencil. This is the Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl. I absolutely love it. I usually only use this stencil vinyl when I am stenciling on top of something I already painted. Don't know why I chose to use it right here, but at least we get to talk about it, right? So we're going to place that on top, and again, just trying to make sure that I find my center, and there we go. Now this stuff is so good, you guys, because it doesn't have like a super strong adhesive, but I hardly have bleeds with this. I think it works way, way, way better than, what is it? Oracle 613, I think it is. They're like stencil vinyl. I don't know. But it is definitely my favorite. And now I'm going to tape all of my edges off anywhere where that wood's exposed, because I like to get crazy, and I know if I don't, there will be paint all over my board. So I am going to take the Rust-Oleum Linen White Chalk Paint. Chalk paint, I get asked this question all the time, why I use it. It is just something that I have found that has worked for me, and y'all, you know, don't fix it if it ain't broken. You know what I'm saying? So I always use my chalk paint, and I don't ever go away from it. I love it. I think it is such great full coverage. I love that it is matte. And it's just easy to work with, in my opinion. But y'all need to try your own thing, because what may work for me may not work for you. So this is my sponge roller. And what I'm doing is, one, this is going to be a reversible sign, so we're not painting the sides. And I am going light-handed, y'all. You need to go in light-handed. You do not want your paint spilling over the side, and you don't want it going underneath your vinyl. And that is where a lot of bleeds happen, because you are pressing too hard down on your sponge or whatever you're using, and that paint's going to go under your vinyl. So you could always go back in with a second coat. So always start out light, take your time. Right here, I am taking a blow dryer, and I'm doing this on cool setting. If you were to use warm heat on this, you will have cracking in your chalk paint. So put it on cool. It just helps speed up the process for me. You will know when chalk paint is dry, because it will be completely matte. You will not see any shininess to it, or like it'll look wet if it's not dry. So here we are going in with the second coat, and you could just see what a difference a second coat makes. And again, I'm going in super light-handed, and then I'm evening that paint out by like going back over. See how I'm just like rolling it back over where I just was? And that way I just know that I have my paint evenly distributed on my board. So this is coming out good. My favorite part is always peeling the paint and the stencil off. It is like my moment. If you guys, all right, here we go. Look at this. Look at this. I promise I turn it. I've been trying a new camera holder thing. It ain't. Mama got to save her paint. Okay, so, look at that clean line. Sorry, my kids are playing upstairs. So then I start weeding as I'm standing and hovering over this table, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to get myself out of this position if I keep standing like this. So your girl has to go to the table because she's old. Okay, so you guys, this synthetic brush that I have here, that is to wipe away the little flakes that come off. When the chalk paint dries and you're weeding it, little pieces of chalk paint will flake off of the top of the vinyl. And if that little flake, a little tiny baby flake of that chalk paint gets on your exposed wood, and you accidentally put like your hand in it or a finger and smeared it, it will act like paint, and you will not be able to get it off. So that is why whenever I am weeding chalk paint, I have my little paintbrush. It doesn't have to be a synthetic one or anything. I have a little paintbrush next to me so that whenever those little pieces fall onto my sign, I can brush them away. That way I know I'm not going to have the chance of ruining my wood round. Because even if it got on like this, you know, like the letters, that can ruin a whole sign, at least for me. I'm a perfectionist and it has to be perfect. Now, you guys, if you are new to weeding wood signs, I highly recommend getting the Cricut weeding tool. I have the Silhouette one and I have this Cricut one. The Cricut one has such a sharp point at the end that all you have to do is get one little piece up on the side and it works so well. Do not gouge your wood, y'all. I used to do that all the time when I started off doing wood. So what I was trying to show you there was my wood kind of splintered and it brought up some of the paint on a letter. So I just got a super thin brush, went back in with my linen white chalk paint and just fix that. Just that way you don't see like the rip of the paint on there. So it does happen often. So, okay. So now we are starting on the second side. And this one, you guys, we are going to make it sold because I wanted it to be so that she can obviously show off her business and, you know, advertise herself with a client. And then also so her clients can turn this around and then it could be like their personal photo. You know what I'm saying? I just thought it would be cool to have that option for her clients because I've, in my wood sign career, have made so many people signs that say sold, it's ours, or we said yes to the address kind of thing. So I thought this would be a great way if her clients didn't have it or whatever, then it would be something nice to like offer them to take a picture with. So this one I do lay the 651 permanent vinyl on there. And anytime you guys I'm laying on top of stained wood, I will usually just use the 651 permanent vinyl. I have it in bulk. I like it. It has a stronger adhesive so that paint doesn't bleed under it. And again, we are just cleaning this up with the blow dryer. Not cleaning it up, drying it. Okay, second coat is done. And we are going to take this off. You see what I'm saying about strong adhesive? Now, a lot of people you can possibly see, which I get questions a lot, splinters in your wood by pulling up your vinyl. That is common, and that really just has to do with the piece of wood you have. Sometimes I'll have no wood rounds or wood in general that splinter, and then sometimes I'll get a batch and like every single one wants to splinter because the wood is so soft. So there we go, but we're not done yet. All right, so now we are taking our Aura Mask 813 stencil vinyl, and I am doing the Aura Mask because I'm going to be stenciling over something I already painted. And if you get permanent vinyl and put that over the paint, it will rip that paint up. This vinyl does not do that, and that's why I prefer to use it. So as I'm peeling it back, I am also going to make sure wherever there's white showing that I really press that vinyl down there so that I don't have any bleeds onto that white. So right there, I'm trying to show you, see how it looks like it's lifted? You don't want that. So you want to make sure that you're pressing that vinyl down into those creases so that you don't have anything going under your vinyl, okay? So we're going to tape that off on the sides again, just like we did with the previous one. And this, you guys, just use your old painter's tape. You don't have to do a new. All right, you guys. So now we're going to take, this is like some textured chalk paint. I'll put it down. I think it's by like Home Decor. And now I'm just painting all over my stencil here. And I wanted it to be bold. I wanted the "It's Ours" to stand out. So you just have to play around with paints and things like that. Y'all, if you are starting wood sign business out, contact local realtors. They will give you so much great business if you can get in good with them, make about 5 templates for them to like choose from every single time they have a sell on a home. It's a great way to start your business. And then also when they give those signs to somebody else, that person could refer you. So definitely something to look into. Oh my gosh, sorry about my children. They're like moving around furniture. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and peel that away, and you are gonna see these clean, look at how clean those lines are. No bleeds whatsoever, you guys. It came out absolutely beautiful. Now, when you do chalk paint, sometimes it is hard to see where your vinyl was. Like you see all of those little baby pieces I had there. So all you have to do is kind of prop up your wood sign. Oh, that's when I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I keep rubbing this on my mat and it's probably dirty. All you have to do is kind of tilt it up and you'll see like the texture where your vinyl is. See, I'm like, am I missing a piece? Yes, you are, girlfriend. And you guys, this is super simple. I hope this was a good like back to basics video for y'all. I always have fun doing these wood rounds, and y'all know if you have any questions, you could comment down below. So you guys, I think I'm talking here, so I won't. Matte clear, and then it's non-yellowing, UV resistant, but the reason I chose to use the clear matte Rust-Oleum spray paint on this one is because this is not going to be a sign for outside. This isn't even going to be a sign for inside. It is just for people to hold and take pictures with. So that is why I'm changing it up here. I know almost all of my signs I use Helmsman spar urethane, but since this is not going outside, I'm just going to put 2 coats of this Rust-Oleum clear on each side and you are good to go. And I love that. You could also use that with indoor signs as well that will not be exposed to the elements. Let that completely dry. And you guys, we're not putting any hangers on this or anything. So y'all, thank you so much for joining me on a Wood Sign Wednesday. Make sure to check out my description box. I will link a lot of the wood round videos from my first one to second and so forth. I hope you all have a great week. I appreciate you all so very much.
Hanky, you have something hanging from your lip. You see it? Do you feel it? It's right there. Oh, no, don't get it on, Mom. Don't get it. Oh, look, it's on. Ew. Okay.
So I'm bringing you in the garage first because usually we work with a lot of the wood rounds, and those are easy because you don't have to measure them. You don't have to cut them. Pretty straightforward. So we're not going to go over cutting today, but I am going to show you a little bit about how to pick out a piece of wood, and then also how measuring works, especially when you're going over to your design studio or your vinyl cutter to make your stencils. Like I said, especially for those of you that do not usually work with regular wood. And when I mean regular, I mean cuts like a 1x10, a 1x6, things like that. So I'm going to take you over to our workbench and I am going to show you what I'm talking about. So let's go. Whenever you guys are making, when I first started working with wood, I learned the hard way. So you go into Home Depot, Menards, wherever, and you get a 1x6. This is a 1x6 right here. Look at how beautiful she is. A 1x6. This is a 1x10 right here. This is what we're going to be making our sign with. Now, when I first started, I cut, you know, I think this is 45 inches or something like that. I would cut my length, and then I would go over to my design studio and I would, you know, make my box or whatever. So I'm making my stencil and I would put 45 inches long by 10 inches wide because it's a 1x10, right? So then I would start cutting my stencil and I would try putting on my wood and I'm like, This is way bigger than my wood is. And that is because they are not actually 10 inches long. They're not actually, sorry, they're not actually 10 inches wide. They're not 6 inches wide. A 1x12 is not 12 inches wide. So you need to make sure that you're measuring your wood, because even though it says 1x6, it is not. They are usually, actually, a 1x6 is actually 1 by 5.25, okay? So I'm gonna take this here so you can see. And if you measure across, do you see that? See, this is not 1x6. Sorry, that's upside down. But you catch my drift. This is not a 1x6 piece of wood. And sometimes it's even 5.5, 5.25. This one's a little bit bigger. You know, so you have to measure. That way you're cutting your stencil out in the right width. Because if we would cut our stencil and we were using letters like we are for this sign, then your letters would go over the width of your piece of wood because your stencil would be way too big for it. So you need to make sure you are measuring your wood out before you go to your design studio and start chipping away at your design. So our 1x10 right here, 1x10, do you see that? It's not actually 10 inches. That would be 10 inches. Okay? So I wanted to make you guys aware of that, just so, this is like the weirdest way of recording, but just so you guys know beforehand, before you're going in your design studio, not to measure the width out by the 10 inches that it says it is. And that is usually all pieces of wood. So a 1x12 is 1 by 11.25 on your design studio. A 1x10 is actually 9.25, 1x8, 7.25, a 1x6 is actually 5.25. So thought that might be something that some of you may not know, especially if you do not work with slabs of wood all the time. Now, you guys can get pieces of wood. If you don't have a miter saw, if you don't have anything to cut wood with, but you want to make one of these signs, you can simply go to your hardware store. You can tell them what size of wood you want and they will cut it there for you. Okay, so some things though to look for, and I've learned this the hard way too, because I have tons of random pieces of wood that I can't really use. I mean, you can, and right now we have to use them because there is a wood shortage. So we are working with what we got. But whenever you go to look for your piece of wood, there's a couple things to look for. One, and I don't care, I will do this on the floor. I don't care who's watching. So set it to the side. Look, you can already tell this one is warped. Let me see. My camera like straight on. Sorry guys, trying to get that. There we go. So I would get this on the floor if I was looking, and I would make sure to look down, make sure that it's not warped. See, like from right here, this looks, I'm closing one eye over here. Can you see me? Closing one eye. It actually doesn't look that bad, but then look at, see when we set that down, do you see how it's warped right there? See that gap? So it's bent a little bit, which you can still use, and it's still perfectly fine. I still use these for like frame signs and stuff. You're just gonna have to maneuver it because it's not sitting like, see this one right here. See that? See how that's sitting flush? It's not bent. It's not that. You can totally tell there's a gap right there. Okay, so I would set it on the floor. If you're at the store, look at it this way to see if it's gaps. Stand it on its side to see if it's warped. I am actually, let me see, I know I have a piece like that one. Awesome, perfectly straight. Give me a second. I'm going to find you a nice warped piece that, of course, I picked up. Let me see. What? Walking around this dang garage. Like this one. Of course, I grabbed the biggest one, right? Ah! Okay, let's put this right here. Look at that, baby. Do you see? Like, there is so many wrongs with this. Do you see that? That's straight, you guys. That's straight on our workbench. Like, that is how warped this piece of wood is. So, to be honest, like, if you had bought something like this, I would probably have to take off. This is a very informative one. Probably like 20 inches off this side, because this is crooked. There's no way this could hang on somebody's wall and sit flush with the wall. I could probably use the middle part of this, and then I'd have to chop all of the end off, because this is just, look at that. You see what I'm talking about, you guys? And this right here is how you waste your money. Don't make the same mistakes I have. I always look at a piece of wood and I'm like, oh, this is so pretty. This is gonna stain well. Well, I learned the hard way once getting home and you go to cut something and it looks like this, that like, this isn't gonna sit flush with somebody's wall if they purchased it. Now, like, about this much of it is probably good. So that is why you need to hold it to the side. Set it down. Oh my gosh, that is so bad. That is so bad. I also like our one hardware store, Menards. Their stuff is on like a second story, and it has like a guardrail up, and I will put them on the guardrail to see if they go straight across the guardrail or if they're like bending. So those are things that you need to look out for when purchasing your wood. Another thing, guys, I'm talking while I'm moving, so just hang in there with me. Let me see, I want to show you. Okay. Okay. Here's another thing. You need to make sure, see this huge crack right here? Now before, I would never use this. And you guys, you know what I do with wood? I don't know if you guys have seen my business page, but I create beach scenes out of pieces of wood like this. And they are so beautiful. If you guys ever want to see that, let me know. I will do a video. So before actually, you guys, beforehand, okay, if you don't have this, make sure you're looking, because if you don't have like the right product or something, this would be a waste of wood for you, because it has a huge crack. It has holes like where the branches were. I think this side, see how like rough this side is? It has a crack right here. Those are things that you need to take notice of too, because again, this, like, we cut wood off of this side and this side so that we'd still be able to use it. But as it stands right here, I used to not be able to do anything with this, but I'm actually going to try and show you today. There's a company, it's called Star Bond. I had never heard of this before, and you guys, I have so many pieces of wood chopped up on the bottom. Well, I'll show you guys later, that I haven't used because I can't make signs with these gaps and stuff in them. So I had seen, and I swear the internet is so creepy, I had seen an ad for this on my Facebook page, and it basically, I'm going to show you guys later, but like fills all of these cracks, and then it hardens like a super glue, but it's like for wood, and then you just sand it over, smooth it, and then you could paint over it. Hello, genius. I have so many pieces of wood like this that like we've just chopped off different sections so that like, since we couldn't use this, and I'm so stoked to try this stuff to see how it works. And That would just save a lot of money because there are many, many gorgeous pieces of wood like this. Like the one we're going to use today, you guys. I'm going to show, I mean, they're not bad, but like we're going to use this 1x10. And I don't know if you could see, like that's totally a hole. Like I could fit my whole nail in there. But you know what? Your girl's got to work with what she got because wood is getting more expensive. It's getting hard to come by. And this one has a couple of knots in there that when you paint over knots, you're going to have bleeds because if your stencil is going over that and you're trying to paint, it's going to go right into those little grooves and you're going to have bleeds everywhere. Okay, so I am actually going to try that out on this board today. We'll both see how it works. I've never used it before. I didn't play around with it, so first time for everything. And it comes in like a dries jet black, light brown, which I don't think really matters if you're painting over it. I guess we'll see, right? And then dries dark brown. So I'm super excited to see this. You know those infomercials you see on Facebook and you're like, oh, what? Like that's your reaction I got out of it. So we'll see how this works. I'll leave a link down in my description box. And anyways, there will be a link. There will be a coupon code for you guys down below. And all right, let's get into this project. So what are we gonna do first? Oh my gosh, this one is so beautiful. It's gonna be a very informative one, okay? Because I feel like my wood slime videos are getting pretty repetitive. So you guys, if you have ideas for other wood sign videos, let me know because I don't want to bore you guys by doing the same thing every week. So I have this sander, which I got. Both of these are Skill sanders. And this one is more for like detailed work, like getting into edges. More so like I've used this on furniture a lot. This one, which is the orbital sander, I feel like is way faster, covers more of your wood, and I prefer it more than this one, definitely. So this one's more for like detailed work, and this one I like on my larger projects. So just so you know, you don't have to use a new piece of sandpaper every single time that you are working on a project. I will reuse until there ain't nothing left of the sandpaper, and we are gonna go ahead and sand this. I'm starting with 80 grit. You don't have to use 80 grit. You can use, sorry, I know this is weird because my face isn't in the video. You don't have to start with 80 grit. You just need a lower grit that's rougher to get all of your dirt, your debris, all of like the little splinters off of your edge. And then also for this, like, let me show you guys. If you are sanding these, even with your like wood rounds, you guys, I don't know, can you see like that texture right there that's on them, and it like goes down to around all the knots? Now that you can smooth that out, and how you do that is by getting up on the side of your sander and going a little harder in there, and then just go back over to smooth them out. Okay, so we're going to start with an 80 grit, then I'm going to move to a 220, which is super fine, and it makes your wood feel like butter. So let's go ahead and get that going. Okay, maybe I need to plug everything in first. All right, you guys, so this is the Star Bond, and that is the gap filler. This is the accelerator. Now this stuff, you guys, this is my first time using it, and it almost looks like a super thick, like crazy glue is what I can compare it to. And you put it in the gaps of like your pieces of wood. So like right here, this was a big one. Like I could fit my fingernail in there, and otherwise I wouldn't be able to paint over this, or it would have just bled everywhere. So I probably, actually this wood was set aside because it had so many knots in it. So you put it on, then you spray this accelerator on there, and it dries the glue, the gap filler, within seconds, you guys. Seconds. It's done. It's dry. Now the one on the right, I don't know if I put a little too much, because you can kind of see it kind of like bubbled out just a little bit, which was no big deal. I just ended up getting a little thing and wiping it and then spraying a little bit more of the accelerator on, and it was perfect. And they have like a wood crack filler. I mean, they have so many things, and this was just awesome. There are so many pieces of scrap wood that I can now, well, they're not scraps anymore, because now I could actually use them with this stuff. So after that, you do have to sand over it. And that's because, you know, there might be ridges or whatever. So you want to even it out. And then I ended up using it on a couple more of the knots. I didn't do all of it because I was way too lazy. I mean, this thing was covered in knots. But it was awesome. So you guys, we're going to use two different stains, Golden Pecan, Antique White. Now, I want you guys to know, when you're dealing with like Antique White, Vintage Aqua, Barn Red, and stains, they have a different consistency. They are super thick stains. They don't absorb into the wood like a regular stain would. So you have to spend a little bit more time with them, and you have to make sure that it doesn't streak. So that's why I have to keep on going over the same spot, because it kind of leaves streaks on there. So just make sure that you're careful. So as you can see the difference, like look at how quickly this absorbs into my wood, how quickly I'm moving along, you know, the staining process, because this doesn't streak. It's absorbing right into my wood. It's a fast process. So keep that in mind when you are using different types and different colors of stain. So I don't do the sides because we're going to cover that up with paint. So don't even worry about that. Then I'm going to prop this up on its side so that it can dry on both sides of the wood. Now, y'all, we are going to cut our vinyl, and I totally rigged this myself. This is like a Cricut mat and like an off-name mat, and I got painter's tape and just taped it together in the middle. And you do have to play around with the placement of your vinyl, okay? So this isn't, when you feed it into your machine, it doesn't really like cut on the same places, if that makes sense. I don't know, but you have to play around with it. I am ashamed to say that I lost a lot of vinyl because I had made this when I had my Cameo 2, and it didn't feed into the Cameo 4 like it did my Cameo 2. So I ended up wasting a lot of vinyl. So make sure you play around with it before you feed your entire amount in there. And I know that the Cameo 4, you could go matless, but I still have not figured it out. And I know I have my new Cricut machine as well, but I tried YouTubing everything to see if you can cut bigger than 24 inches. And everything I was finding was basically saying no, or you have to cut everything in like the 12-inch mats if you want it longer. So if you know a way around that, let me know in the comments too, because I couldn't find anything. So we are finishing this up. It cuts so easy for me, and now we are just weeding everything out. We're leaving our letters down because we are using the letters as our stencil, okay? So we're weeding out the main part of this, and then I am going to cover it with transfer tape, which I don't show. And then I'm over here on the ground, the hairiest freaking ground in the whole house. I don't know why I chose to do it here. And then I'm going to, I used my clear transfer tape for this one because I really wanted to be able to see my letters and my placement. Now I left the bottom of this super straight. That way I can just line it up with the bottom of my piece of wood. And all I really had to do was focus on like the sides of the letters and make sure that they were, you know, spaced appropriately, and it fit perfectly. It went on so easy. I was super happy with it. And I am using Oracle 651 permanent vinyl. I like using permanent vinyl because I think it adheres better to the stained wood, causes less bleeds, and yeah, that's what I use when I'm applying stencils directly on stained wood. So when you're peeling your vinyl back, you guys, I say it all the time, go slow, okay? Super slow, because then things like this happen. I pulled the little loop of the G up, and then I had to get my weeding tool, and then I had to try and lift it up, place it back down, wanted it to sit flat. Hello, you guys. My name is Sammy. I have been a victim of cellulite, but that's okay because I've had 2 kids and I'm 34, and, you know, I'm just rocking it at this point. You know, I'm owning it. So take the rest of that transfer paper up, and then we are going to do the same exact thing on the opposite side, but I did not film that. That would be super boring, and this video is already long enough. Okay, so make sure all the debris is off, any dog hair, which is always on here. I'm using the charcoal Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and I'm going to apply this with my roller just like I do my wood signs. Now, you guys don't have to have a roller. You could use a chippy brush. You could use a synthetic brush. I mean, you do you, okay? It does not have to be exactly how I am doing it. If you want a more rustic look, I definitely suggest going with a chippy brush and then sanding it down. I am going to be doing 2 coats on this. I mean, it covers pretty well, but I definitely wanted it darker on here. So when you guys do the sides, make sure you're not pressing hard with your sponge or your paintbrush, because you do not want that dripping onto the side that you have not painted yet. That just causes a huge, huge mess, okay? So be patient. Take your time. It is worth it to take your time, because then you're just going to have double the work. So to speed up this drying process, I am using the cool setting on my blow dryer, which means it is blowing out cold air. And I do not use the warm setting because I don't want to heat up that vinyl. When you heat up vinyl, gets that adhesive stickier, and we do not want it hard to come off when we are ready to weed our stencil off of our wood. So then I'm going in coat number 2 and doing the same thing, rolling it. I'll also get the sides, and then you guys, after this is dry, which I use the blow dryer, then I move on to the other side, okay? So this is already late, but I knew you can't just leave your stencil on here like overnight. It's permanent vinyl. If you did that, it would be harder to get off of your board. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going down in my pajamas because I'm way too lazy to change. So I'm weeding this. I highly suggest, if you don't want to gouge your wood, which I used to do all the time, get a super sharp weeding tool. This one is my Cricut weeding tool that I've literally had forever. And it is so sharp at the end that all I have to do is put just a little bit of that weeding tool under the vinyl, and it brings it up for me. So you guys do the same thing for the opposite side. And I need a drink of water because I'm going to cough. Can you hear my children running? Dad is home. All right, so let's go ahead, weed this side off, and then we are going to take it outside, and we are going to just dress it a little. So getting our orbital sander, we are going to do the edges. This is super easy, you guys. I'm not going to run it over the entire sign. I'm just doing the edges just to give it a little bit more detail, a little bit more zhuzh, you know. I'm going to do that with the front, and I'm going to do that with the back. Now, if you wanted a more distressed look, you get that sander and you could put it over the entire thing, the letters, everything, and just sand until you get your desired look. But that's all I wanted to do. So let's bring it back into the house, and we are going to clear it with some Helmsman. Now, I do 2 coats on this because for us, we don't have an overhang on our porch, so I know that this sign is going to be directly in the elements, and it snows here, it's hot here. So I did 2 coats of Helmsman on this one, and all I do in between coats is I dry it on the coolest setting so that I could speed up my process. You don't have to do this. You could just wait for it to dry naturally and then come back and do your second coat. Sorry, my kids are being so loud. I really want to try the spray version of the Helmsman. I think that would be so nice, because with this clear, you have to wait 24 hours after painting your chalk paint, or else it will just smear the entire thing. So I feel like the spray will, I mean, you don't have to wait 24 hours, but I feel like it would just be more expensive to keep buying the spray versus an entire like can of the Helmsman, if that makes sense. So after doing 2 coats, we did it on both sides. Make sure you guys, when you're doing this, you get your sides very good. Don't leave anything dripping off your sides, because just like the wood rounds, if you let those drips there, they will dry like a cloudy, you know, white color, and we don't want that. So make sure you check your sides before you start drying your sign, or leave it to dry, okay? So we're all done with that, you guys. How easy was that? Now I'm taking twine, and I chose to hot glue it to the side. You can probably staple it, but I just felt like the staple, when you're done and like you're stapling the end to the side, that it would show. So I went against it. I used hot glue, but you can definitely use whatever you'd like. You could even use like really cute, those decorative nails. I think they're called grommets. And those are super cute too. But just wrap it around as much as you want to get the desired look you want. And now I'm going to take this outside, and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to decorate it. All right, you guys, so we're outside, and look at how cute. This is just a pick from the Dollar Tree that I put in there. And like, you could even just glue a clip to the back of this if you didn't want to actually like have the stem showing, and I just kind of threw it in there. But like, look at how cute. Don't mind my like front porch, okay? All right. Look at how cute. Look at how good that Star Bond filled in that crack, and like no bleeding. I love the distressed edges. I like that we went with the white stain. And then look, here's another option. All right, bear with me here. Bear with me. So this is a Dollar Tree ornament, right? I just put a little clip on the back of that. So we're gonna take her out right there. And then we will just, let me see if I could do this one-handed. Probably not, so hold on. Okay, not the greatest positioning, but you catch my drift, right? Right, so you can change it up, you can do whatever you'd like with it. I wonder if that would even just kind of, nah, you'd have to secure it down. But like, if I clipped it on right, like that would look cute too. Super cute. Be right back for fall version. All right, you guys, we are back with fall side. And look it, I love the stain color for the fall. I just wanted to change it up a little bit and not make it too overwhelming, because I wanted this to be a super easy, I think they're called porch sitters. But look, I put 2 picks in here from the Dollar Tree. One right there. Like I said, you can cut these down shorter. You can put them on little clips like this one I have like going on the back, but I'm just using these for examples. But like, look at how cute that is. And you can seriously change this up. And what's nice about this, you guys, you can do this same thing for like a welcome sign or home sweet home, and then put that twine up there, and people can change up their own decor by season. So I think this came out really great. I hope you guys learned a ton of stuff from this video. And if you are still here, make sure you give me some more ideas of what you guys want to see wood sign wise. So today I am going to be showing you how to make a very easy address sign for the front of your home, or you can even use it for home decor if you choose to. It's really easy. All you're gonna need is a slab of wood. I am using a scrap piece from my pile, and then paint sticks. I am using a nail gun, which, I mean, you don't have to have. You can just hammer in some nails, some stain, and some paint. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this tutorial. Check her out. This address sign was my first time making it, so if I can do it, y'all can do it too. And she turned out absolutely beautiful, and we are going to jump into how you make this. So sorry this is slow-mo, but it's okay. It gives me a chance to explain. So I measured my piece of wood. This is a 1x8. I measured it to 22 inches. I am using pre-existing address numbers. So all I did was space out my numbers how I wanted to, and then measured across, and then added like another inch to that measurement. So if you're not using the address numbers you already have, make sure you buy whatever numbers you're going to use first before making your sign. That way you know how big they're going to be, how you want to space them, whatever it may be, so that you know how long to cut your piece of wood. And maybe you're not doing vertically, you might go horizontally or whatever. So keep that in mind. And even though you're not going to see this, I still sand it down, creature of habit. You might as well do it right the first time anyways. So I do sand all of this down. This was just a scrap wood that was pretty dented and stuff, so I figured, great. I am using paint sticks. You guys, I wanted to use the big ones, and I highly recommend using the bigger paint sticks. I had gotten mine from Menards, and they literally looked like there was 3 pieces glued together on them. They were horrible. So I had to work with what I had. So I ended up moving over to these smaller paint sticks, and they are super thin, but you know what? They worked. It took a little bit more time, but I figured it out. So this is all just basically putting puzzle pieces together, you guys. I would start out by cutting. So like this one, I'm going to cut the end stick off of it, the like little handle part. And whatever stick I had that was like bigger, I would use that usually at the end or put that in the middle, and then start building around it by cutting out smaller pieces. Or like if there was 2 sticks on the outside, I'd measure what the gap was on the inside of those and then cut that out of a paint stick. I want to keep calling them popsicle sticks. So this process took a little bit, but it was a lot of fun, like piecing them together. What was I going to say? Y'all, is it Monday? No, it's definitely not. We're halfway through the week already. But you're going to do this all the way down. As you can see, like all of my sticks are totally different sizes. I just play around with it and keep on like cutting down, going back and forth. I believe this was 3 packs of the paint sticks. Now right here, my husband was a genius, because I was like, man, I got to stain these. How the heck am I supposed to take all these off and remember where they go? So he's like, number the backs of them. That way you'll know where they went. And I was like, babe, gosh, you're not always right, but sometimes you are so right. You know, like when you're on, you just on. So I go ahead and I am staining this ebony. We have like a black iron gate in the front, and like our mailbox is black. So I thought this was perfect. Do all of my paint sticks. I don't do the back, because remember, the numbers are on the back of those and you're not going to even see them anyways. So don't worry about that. And make sure you let this dry overnight, 24 hours. You do not want this to have like an oily fill. You want it completely dry. So this is the next day. We are dry, and now I'm just staggering my pieces again. That way I know where to nail them down because there is a little bit hanging off of this piece of wood. So just playing around with it here. And at first, you guys, I go in with the Gorilla Glue. And I should have known not to do this anyways because I wanted to get it done today. So I got the Gorilla Glue, put it on. But if you guys watched my farmhouse shelf build, if it's not dry, it moves around. So when I went to go nail it in, of course, the paint stick moved. So a couple things. If you're making this for like a client or something, I highly recommend, I would want to reinforce it. So I would definitely do the wood glue, but I would do all of your wood glue all of your pieces first, let it dry overnight, and then go back and use your nail gun. That way it's just extra reinforcement, but you know what? I went with it, and I end up, as you see, not doing the wood glue on all of the other pieces. And this is where I realized that the nail gun, one, didn't have any nails in it. Two, the one that actually did go through was long and it wasn't the right size. So for this, you guys, I used 15 millimeter nail guns. You guys can also just use nail and a hammer, and that would work perfectly fine too. So make sure too you're holding your paint sticks kind of in place when you're using your nail gun, or if you're using your nail and your hammer. This, you guys, you can get this, your piece of wood. See, it's like moving. I'm like, there's no nails in there. That's glorious. So, but you guys can get, if you don't have like a bunch of these tools or whatever, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's. You can, if you know the size, you can have them cut it right there for you. And so this project, I mean, the 3 things of paint sticks were $3. This whole piece of wood for a 1x8 is like $6. So you can make this for under $10, assuming you have the stain. And if you don't have the stain, if you watch my video, I'll link it above, you can make your own stain with just acrylic paint and water. And that's a super inexpensive way, so you don't have to go buy a full can if you're not planning on using it in the future. So thin paint sticks, these cracked a couple of them, but you know what? I swear, I just go with the flow, you guys. I just go with the flow. I'm here to learn, so you guys don't have to make the same mistakes. I do think if I would have used the bigger paint sticks, because they are a little thicker than these, I wouldn't have had that issue. So keep that in mind when you're doing them. It was only a couple of them, so I wasn't too worried. They were stained, and then we're going to treat this wood anyways with some waterproof stuff, so I'm not too worried. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even show it. I did end up dropping pieces, you guys, and the numbers on the back really helped me out. Okay, so this is what I'm going to put over this. Make sure you read the back, because there's a lot of rules and guidelines, like don't put on freshly stained wood, which I did. It's totally fine. It has you like sample your wood first with some water. There's just like a lot of things. So make sure that you read it. So now I'm just cleaning the address numbers that were already being used. And as you see, there's a theme going on with this aqua color. And this, you guys, is Rust-Oleum Satin Aqua. All of the spray cans that I ever use are probably from Rust-Oleum. They work great. They're great coverage. So I painted those, let them dry. I also put a clear Rust-Oleum spray on them as well, just to make sure they last for a little bit. And then, you guys, I just eyeballed that. I spray painted my screws so that they matched. And then this is where tragedy struck, right? My husband comes over and goes, oh yeah, I should have told you should go easy on those. Oh, cool. Thank you. But he tries to save the day. He does, but it doesn't work. It is still cracked, but that's okay. Lesson learned. These are plastic. They're not fancy. You guys, these numbers cost a lot. They're like $8 each or something for like nice ones. No, Mama's cheap. So I like how he hands me back over the screw gun because I totally thought he was going to just do the rest for me, but he didn't. He just watched. I was like, all right, cool, bro. So look, and then he's pointing like, how dare you? Just walk away. Let me do my thing now. So we finished these. Oh, and you guys, I did treat it, like I said, with that spray, and it's like a watery, oily consistency. You just have to let it dry. I just let each side dry thoroughly in the sun, and now look, the sign is completed. It is going to be weather resistant. I live in Kansas, so there's snow, there's storms, there's humidity, and look at how gorgeous. Like, that does not look like it was made for under $10. I wish we had like black screws or something, but I think I'll color those in with Sharpie, and gorgeous. And that would even look good like if you did it horizontally. Oh, here's pink. Can you tell people hi? This guy. What are you doing? Let everybody see that wrinkly face. Let everybody see that wrinkly face Mama loves. Ooh. Where's your collar? Where's your collar? Oh, God. No. I can see your wrinkles. What are you doing? Don't eat my... Don't eat my watch. Don't make my sweat. Oh, buddy, you're so big. Look at everybody's face. Oh, stretch it out. Why are you hiding? Look at all that. Look at all that. You're just trying to get me hairy. Then it gets all sweet. What do you want? I just fed you. Trying to get my ears. Oh. Oh, goodness. You're so big. Okay, Mom's done with you. All right, you guys, here is one side, our Hey There Pumpkin side. This is going to be our fall side of the sign, and then we have our Halloween side, which says boo, and it's going to be candy corn theme over here. Okay, you guys, so what I'm doing first, this is a 15-inch round. I know I usually work with the 17, but since I've never done this before, starting small. So I am taping this off where I want my drill to go, to drill my holes in the top of it. And you will see I'm putting, this is not like my Oramask, the expensive tape. This is just regular painter's tape. We're going to take our drill gun, drill bits. If I could find these drill bits, I'll let you know down below. And I will also put the size I am using as well. And then I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to measure straight across my line. And remember, these are glued panels of pine wood, so they have lines there for you. So make sure you take advantage of it and use it so you have straight lines. So I'm marking these off 3 inches in on each side. I think that measured like 10 inches across perfectly or something like that. I don't know. But I know for sure that I measured 3 inches in on each side. And now I am going to, I don't know why I grabbed that piece of wood, y'all. Okay, so we're going to take our drill. And now you guys, this is where, I wouldn't say mistakes are made, but I drilled down on this side and it was totally fine. It did kind of flake the wood a little bit. To stop that, you can always put a piece of painter's tape over it so that it doesn't split your wood. So I go over to this side and you'll see like my gun kind of like move side to side, and I think that like it either hit like a piece of grain or wood or something, but right away I knew I was already upset because it was crooked. It was totally crooked. And this is when I was like, okay, I should probably just scrap this piece of wood, start over, do it straight. I don't want to show my viewers this. And like, look, I'm like furious. I'm like, no, this can't be crooked. And it's crooked by like, I feel a lot. And then I was like, you know what? You're going to go with it. Like, we are not scrapping this wood. We're not wasting it. Like, we will figure out a way to work around it. It's no big deal. But look at how crooked that is. Like, hello. So we're going to work with it. I'm using, I don't know how to pronounce it, you guys. ISP, which it's like ISPWICH. I will link it. I love that it gives it this golden color. Perfect for what we're doing. Again, I'm using gloves, my microfiber cloth that I cut into like little squares, and I'm doing my front. I'm going to stain my sides, and I'm going to stain the back, and then I'm going to prop it up and leave it to dry for 24 hours. You will know when stain is dry because you can run your hand over it and it will not feel oily anymore. It'll just feel dry to the touch. So I'm just going to prop that up on something and we'll let it dry. So here she is dry. Now you will see I am looking for those lines. Sometimes you got to look a million times. You got to look it over and you'll finally see them. See how I'm like kind of looking at a side angle, because if you look on the side of this wood round, you can see the lines a little better. So I'm taping this off with my Oro Mask 233 Plus. Again, this is automotive tape. It is great for crisp lines, but it is expensive compared to regular painter's tape. So right here, I'm just trying to figure out how big I want my spaces to be, because we're painting this 3 colors as you saw before. And I'm like, okay, I don't want my Hey There Pumpkin to be, no, sorry, this is the Boo one. Shoot, I'm all over the place, you guys. I knew the middle was going to be orange, so I'm just trying to figure out like how big do I want that centerpiece to be. You guys can play around with it. Again, use the lines on this wood round as your guide. It is a lifesaver. So with this sign, you guys, I am trying different things, okay? I heard you guys. I know people try all different things. So I was like, you know what? This is going to be my sign anyway. So I'm going to go and just try different things. So I am actually using acrylic paint on this bottom half. A lot of people have asked me if I used acrylic paint or anything on my wood signs. I've never used it. So I figured I might as well. So mistake number 2, y'all. I painted the sides. So if this sign was one-sided, it would be perfectly fine and I'd be fine with it. But the whole reason that I picked these 2 things for the reversible sign was because I thought they both would look good with this stain color, and the sides should have just stayed the stain color. Does that make sense to you? But no, your girl decided to paint the sides. So I figured that after I was completely done painting, but we will figure it out, okay? So the white paint, I only gave 1 coat. The same thing with the yellow. I liked that the wood grains were still peeking through with 1 coat, and that you can see like the like on the white, you can see where like a tree limb was. So I like that look. I like it looking rustic. I love wood grain. You guys have heard me say that before. Now this is still kind of wet. I did that because I wasn't sure with the acrylic paint how it would do if I let it dry like all the way. So this is after drying 24 hours. Remember, do not apply your clear sooner than that, or else it will smear your paint, at least for chalk paint. So this is Hellsman water-based spar urethane. This is what I use. It is great for outdoor elements. I am using light coats of this. Make sure you get it all over your board. You'll know it's covered because you'll see all of it glossy looking. Okay, so now that that's cleared, now I know I won't get scratches or anything like that on there. And that's dried overnight. Now I'm moving on to the back. And I'm super fancy, and instead of cutting the tape, I use my teeth. You're welcome. You're welcome for my fanciness. So again, looking for the lines on these. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do with those sides? Whew. Okay, so again, trying to figure out how wide I want the middle part. And I want it a little lower. So the middle part is gonna stay stained. The top, we are doing black. This is Rich Black by Folk Art. It is by far my favorite. I wish they had jugs of this stuff. You only need one coat of this, and it is jet black. I love it. So using my little roller, now this is where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to go around the sides with the black. I thought that was the best option because it would look good with the candy corn sign too, since that will be Halloween theme. So that's what I chose to do. Look at those crisp lines. Oh, that makes me so happy. There is nothing better than taking tape or stencil off and seeing that there are no bleeds. Oh my gosh. See you guys how it looks matte, and then you see the parts where it kind of looks darker black? That meant it wasn't all the way dry. So that's how you know. So here I am. There's my little bud. He's gonna try and feed me, I'm sure. Okay, so sorry I am totally not in the shot whatsoever here, but I am painting the sides right here. And I am noticing that it's not really, okay, it's on the sides. I'm trying to explain this to you. Hopefully I get a close up, but it kind of goes, see on like the front, the sponge, I was so like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So you know what I do? Dry brush, so that it looks like I meant to do it. It looks rustic, and now it doesn't look like the sponge accidentally got on the front. So I am taking the lightest amount. And you guys, remember, I'm only doing this because I messed up in the beginning by painting the sides. If I would have just painted the tops and left those sides just the same color, I wouldn't have had to take all these extra steps. But you know what? It ended up turning out super, super gorgeous. So again, I'm tapping whatever is remaining in my plate and then tapping this all over the sides, or sorry, tapping it on the paper to get like any of the excess off, because I do not want big globs. I just want it looked like I lightly brushed it on there. I do that all the way around. See, especially like on the white, you can see it show up, and it almost looks like a shadow like looming over it. It's really weird. I don't know. Probably should have sped this up for you guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so this side, it did the same thing. So I am going over again, and I'm just dry brushing these sides where the sponge, you know, is showing on there. And I actually really, really, really like how this side, especially this side with the dry brushing on the side, looked. It just gave it so much dimension, so much. So we done there, which I probably, no, I shouldn't have waited. Never mind. Don't listen to me. All right, so let's finish up that. Now right here, I'm just taking a little piece of tape. You see that right there? And that's going to be my guide because that is how wide I want my orange stripe to be. So I'm going to go right on top of that. And I'm reusing some of that tape that we used before because you do not waste that tape. It is super sticky and it will work again, I promise you. My only sucky thing is I have a dog that likes to rub his body on everything, so hair gets on everything as he's staring at me talk about it. All right, so pressing that down on our sides, and then I'm going to take some little scrap pieces of tape too, and I'm going to put them on the sides, and then I'm going to put a piece of tape over the black, if that does that make sense? Okay, so let's get the sides. We don't want the orange going over the sides. We just painted all that black, you guys, all right? So I am just trying to figure out where like the edge tapers off, and then just going to tape that down right there. Sorry, I should have sped this up so you guys get to hear me babble. I probably say this like every video I make because there's at least a couple little snips of videos that I'm like, oh, you probably should have edited that a little better. And there's Everett. He's very proud of himself because he's started dressing himself. So he always has to come downstairs and he'll be like, close your eyes. Okay, so right here I'm covering that black up and I'm putting it right on the line, like right below where that stain is. And then we are going to use pumpkin chalk paint. That's also what I used on the other side. And I am just going to put this on with a brush. You guys, this took me at least 3 coats because the sides were black and it kept showing through, which usually I never have a problem with chalk paint. Chalk paint is pretty thick and covers a lot, but this did not happen. So I had to go back. I had to dry it, go back, dry it, go back. So at least 3 total coats to cover those black sides that were peeking up through there. On the other side, you guys, I used school bus yellow, I believe, in acrylic paint, the pumpkin, and then the Rust-Oleum linen white. So there she is. Super crisp lines, turned out great, no leaking on the side. Woo, super cute. And then I'm gonna go ahead again, let that dry overnight, like the black and the orange, so that I can put the rest on. Okay, so right here, I am measuring how big I'm gonna want that boo. So I measure vertically and then I measure horizontally. It's not always super accurate. Sometimes I cut these, which I did, and like this time measuring it, I went over to my machine, put in my measurements, cut it, and then was like, this is way too small. So it doesn't always work out, but for the most part, I usually don't have any issues with it. So this is my second piece of vinyl that I cut. And this is Boo. I will leave the fonts down below. And then of course the decals will be available in my Etsy shop. So I'm using 6x1, 6x1 permanent vinyl. And probably just Dollar Tree transfer tape. And then make sure that you pull your decals back slowly. There's nothing worse than pulling it back and then getting overconfident and then it ripping. So here she goes. So again, you guys, I never used vinyl on my signs either. So I was trying this out because I've heard a lot of people are using the vinyl. So again, I was like, this isn't for a customer, it's for myself. So we'll go ahead and try the vinyl. And then that way I can see how long it lasts or if there's issues with it. You know, because it would be nice to offer something that maybe is less expensive if people can't necessarily afford the cost of like the hand painted signs. So let's see how this turns out. So I am rubbing this super good onto this wood, and we're just going to peel that back slowly too. This actually adhered super well after I cleared this, so I was okay with that. But then we are going to take our blow dryer, and this is on hot, and I'm putting this over because I want the adhesive on the back of this to get soft and sticky, because let me tell you, when I did this, right away my vinyl started lifting. So that's exactly why I was worried of using vinyl, because if it's in the direct heat, I don't want it bubbling or lifting or anything like that. So this is just making me feel a little bit more secure that it's going to adhere to this wood and it is not going to be going anywhere. So I just ran that over it for a little bit, pressed my fingers on top of it just to make sure it was all smooth, no bubbles, no creases anywhere, and that is it for that side. I am not going to put clear over the vinyl. I've always heard you don't do that, but again, I don't use vinyl on my wood very often, so who knows? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. All right, so this is after drying for 24 hours, and we're going to do the same thing. Helmsman, go with your light coats, especially to be careful around those holes because you don't want it dripping down to the other side of your sign. I was really happy with the shadowing on the side. I love it. And you know, see, and you know what I'm talking about? Everything happens for a reason. So this is Hey There Pumpkin. I also created this decal. I hardly ever purchase decals from like the silhouette shop and stuff like that. I always just usually make them myself because I'm picky. So I'm just eyeballing this and using the lines on the board as a guide. And then you guys remember too, just like I said, I use the 15-inch round because I have never made this reversible sign before, so I didn't want to go big. So keep that in mind. Like if you're just starting off doing these wood rounds, start with something small. Start with the 12-inch or the 15-inch. You know, you don't have to go so big right away. So here we go. Look at how cute. Okay, you guys, this ribbon, $2.34 from Walmart, and it is such great quality. It is so cute. They have the best ribbon out right now. So do not cringe or yell at me, but I seriously took this whole 9-foot thing off because I've never done this before. So I didn't know how much ribbon I was gonna need to do this. But you guys, has this been simple or has it been simple? Okay. We are just feeding the ribbon through, and you can do it a couple ways. Like you can just tie it in a knot and then just leave it hang like that. Or I thought an even cuter way would be to tie it in the front with a bow, and then the back will be your hanger. Does that make sense? So I fed the ribbon through and now I'm just tying it in a bow. Don't worry, I'll use all the excess I cut off in another project. But look at how pretty this ribbon is. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I will put in, I need to measure, I'll take it out of the sign and then measure how long I ended up cutting these. But it looks so cute. All right, that's it, you guys. Let's show you. Let's show you the front. Look at, ooh, I love it. Look at that shadowing on there. I love this, you guys. This will be a great product to sell. The 15-inch, actually, this is the first time I made a 15-inch one, and I really like the size on the door. It's super cute. Would be great for inside use too. There's backwards. Look it. Okay, and then I'm going to show you with the bow on the boo side. So you guys, I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope it inspired you to try some of these out. I hope it inspired you to keep trying, even if you're failing at some stuff. And I don't even want to say failing. Forget that word. You know what? If just keep on going with your bad self, okay? Never give up. And I will see you guys again soon. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye, y'all. You're getting old. I don't know. Using me to look out the window, apparently he's sniffing my lip gloss.
Like, Mom, what have you been eating? Hank.
Dad's right there. You're like a child if your dad's right there and you still insist on